Two wild cards and two predictable winners means Miles the Monster must have something special in store for the MPI Cup Series. Miranda and Stempian are fresh off of Bristol Dirt and Talladega wins respectively, leaving many drivers in the playoff hunt wondering when they might get their break. Could it come for some at Dover? Only time will tell. 200 miles, 200 laps on the docket for the Monster Mile 200. Hi, welcome to PitStop TV and the virtual Dover Motor Speedway for tonight's Monster Mile 200. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Emerson Arden alongside. And where anything can happen on high concrete banks, Emerson, some drivers need anything and more to right the ship and work into the playoffs. If you're one of the drivers on the outside looking in, how can you capitalize here tonight?
Well, for starters, you have to see that this track, it's nicknamed the Monster Mile. It is an absolute monster. You have to be looking out for all the trouble, and you have to take advantage of those who do get themselves into trouble early. Whether that's big accidents that kind of sweep across the racetrack, whether that's drivers that go ahead and pop the wall because they're just so close. They're on the exits to turn 2 and 4. Also, if you look at tonight's track, there's a lot of overcast over the track. It's a very cool racetrack with a track temp of 72 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a lot of grip out there, which means that these drivers are able to be a little bit more aggressive into the corners. The tires don't fall off as much, so you can be more aggressive. But at the same time, you have to expect the aggression going up for 40 cars means that there's probably going to be a lot of chaos, and you got to be ready for that as well.
A good look here at the Dover Motor Speedway. I know the name is outdated there. Hopefully that gets changed soon, but it is now the Dover Motor Speedway. And that is still so weird for me to get used to, Emerson, but this place is looking good, and they've got great renovations already going on and great updates just as far as the race program that is being brought to fans. It was noted today in the NASCAR broadcast, but anyways, here we go. This is the 1 mile Dover Motor Speedway, of course. 9 degrees making on the straightaways, 24 in the corners. You kind of drop in each corner, rise back out of it, and it always launches you at the turn 2 and 4 walls. It's kind of standard at this point for most of us here at Dover, but for those of you that don't know, it's a self-cleaning racetrack. As is always said in the NASCAR broadcasts, it is hectic. There's a fine line of getting it right and a fine line of hitting the wall.
Absolutely. That 9 degrees of banking on the straightaway. You may think 9, that's a single digit number. That's not a lot. You feel it in these cars, especially if your car is not handling right. You're going to be feeling it the entire straightaway, just hoping and praying you can get to the entry of the next corner in one piece. And with that 9 degrees of banking, the self-clearing, the wreck happens at the top, wipes its way all the way down to the bottom. Anything caught in the wake in between, well, you're going to the bottom as well.
Those drivers finish up practice here. They've got about a minute left to go, as you can see on the top left of your screen. Let's check out our standings coming into tonight. And I mentioned Miranda and Stempian, fresh off of wins the last 2 weeks, Bristol Dirt and Talladega. You can see they're atop the standings as well, and that's what caught me so off guard. Reedy, I do want to mention, does have 2 wins, not 1. But that's what caught me so off guard about the last 2 weeks is literally anything could have happened in the last 2 races, and almost everything did happen. Austin Shoemaker almost got a win last week, and so many other drivers were close between Bristol and Talladega. 2 really good wild cards, and still, it's the 2 guys atop the standings that won. I think you could argue that maybe Austin Reedy is with them. You have a kind of a big 3 right now, but then you've got to look a little ways down the order to find your next kind of driver that might step up, or if these 3 are going to continue just winning races. We'll see how things go, and of course, we're getting closer to what we're starting to figure out who's locked in and who our top 16 is going to be. Right now, we're really racing to 15th because Zach Wilson is sitting down there just outside the top 20 with a race win from Richmond, Emerson. So that kind of changes things as well, where Travis Stevens would conventionally be in. He would be the cut line at 16th. He is actually racing to Richard Slavely in the 15th spot, 5 points ahead of him. And then that brings in Dustin Reeves 1 spot closer. Austin Shoemaker is 1 spot closer to being knocked out. Same with Joseph Mahar and Chris Shoemaker. And even Wyatt Brackett in 9th is, that 1 spot closer to being knocked out in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. With only a gap of about 52 points, actually, to that cut line. No one in that bracket, you said they're close to being knocked out. No one is safe there. One bad race, if they get knocked out to an accident early, they could easily be on that cut line and having to race really hard the rest of this season. We're still very early in this season. You see only 9 races complete of the 35 and 9 complete of the 26 regular season.
And that also means that guys like Justin Hendry, Isaac Mock, Bill Schoonover, and Brandon Banks that are on the outside right now, just inside the top 20, they're 1 spot further out. So they've got even further to go up the order, just like Travis Stevens. they're in kind of that weird spot where they've got to play even more catch up than they already thought they had to. And same for the guys outside of the top 20. So there's just a lot of catching up to do. And I think here soon, potentially after Darlington, we'll start to get that top 16 in picture on your standings. We'll be able to really explain that to you. Let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule and kind of see what we're talking about here, Emerson. When we look at the races and we talk about these races that we've had so far, you can see we picked up coverage at COTA back at race number 6. We ended up getting emergency coverage for Richmond, then had Bristol Dirt and Talladega the last 2 weeks, and now we're here at Dover. We have Darlington and Kansas, then the All-Star race. We've had some pretty hectic races so far. Things are about to get into more of a normal NASCAR groove, if you will, and then it's going to shake back up over the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. We're heading to Darlington, and then we're going to get a string of 1.5 miles. 2 1/2 miles, then we'll get to Gateway. But all tracks over a mile. Then we'll have the road course at Sonoma, the 2-mile course. Then back to another kind of intermediate field with Nashville. And then that's where the summer months really start to pick up, and that's where the playoff cut line's really going to get heated up as we head to more road courses and more diverse ovals.
Qualifying underway, you see the notifications at the top of the screen of drivers going purple. There's Justin Erb to the top of the board in qualifying. Chris Shoemaker fast as well. He's in second. Travis Stevens has just jumped up to the 3rd spot in the Rockwell Security number 2. Ryan Kendall looks quick so far. Isaac Mock on that list as well. And Emerson, you mentioned weather. Let's go ahead and talk about the weather. It's actually very worth talking about. It's rather cold. 64 degrees in the air, only 70 on the track, and the winds out of the southeast, they are nothing to scoff at. That's not going to affect these guys too much, I don't think, today, but at some tracks, say a super speedway, that would certainly be notable at 11 miles an hour.
Well, certainly, and if you feel your car starting to bobble either on entry or exit, that wind is not going to do you any favors. But that kind of gets countered out with the low track temp because there's going to be so much grip for these cars at a 70-degree track temp. But that also means that it's going to be tough to find an advantage. Everybody's going to have that kind of track temp advantage. It's I guess who more or less can take the most out of the track being that cold. We're on board Dakota Curtis here, so he comes to wrap up one of his timed laps here, and that lap will put him 10th out of the 13 times.
Now it grows to 14 cars on the board. James Kunkel gets a lap time in, and it goes number 3. A few other drivers on track. These guys definitely utilize the full 10 minutes and get their TV time in. I like that so easily. Not as lucky as Jimmy Johnson some years ago there. Pounds the inside wall. It's a big one there, former qualifying. Richard Swavely is on track. We talk about him being in the hunt for the playoffs and currently the last car in. As Curtis up to pole. My goodness. Car number 1. He's quick.
And that kind of caught me off guard with just, where he was in the charts, but it then brings the reminder to me that it really is a second lap qualifying here. Yeah. That second lap out, that's really what you're going to be looking for. Because while you
especially
can get
lower temps.
Absolutely. But that first lap, you got to build so much temp in the tires for the car to stick. You can send it into turn 1 on lap 1, but it's not going to do you any favors by the exit of turn 2. You're better off just taking it easy on lap 1, setting yourself up with a high turns 3 and 4, and then kind of swooping down, using the hill, and starting your timed lap. We're on board with Joe Sanchez here. We'll see what he puts his number 5 machine up on the charts here. He'll go 55 machine, sorry. He goes 7th quickest.
I'm just astonished at how deep you can drive it into the corner. Go back about 5 years, that would not be the case. Back in the low downforce package, high horsepower. This is really deep into the corners alrighty, well, it looks like we'll be right back, hopefully just in time for the race, battling some technical difficulties. Bear with us. Welcome back to the virtual Dover Motor Speedway. Here's to hoping this time around things hold as qualifying is still underway. A minute and change to go here in the session. We'll get right back to you here. And Emerson, I do have to wonder just how much tire saving is going to change here today. Obviously, cooler temps should help these guys save tires, right?
Right, and you're looking at it as we have two stage breaks today at the completion of 45 and 90. Most of the time, you're really looking to carry these tires about 80 laps. If you're looking at a full fuel run, now you're going to cut that in about at half. You can still be pretty aggressive with your tires. You still have to obviously make sure you have tire to last 45 laps, but you're able to kind of drive it into these corners a little bit harder, knowing that you're going to run less laps on these tires in the first couple stages. It's that final stages that you're worried about, because you're gonna have to run about 60 laps or so if we go green. From the end of stage 2 to the checkered flag, and that's really where the most tire savings is going to be. It's you're going to be pretty much setting yourself up in the first 2 stages and learning how much you can push those tires for that 3rd stage.
Here's a former race winner here at Dover, at least in the MPI Cup Series. Ray Rogers on track, won back in season 3. A little free off of turn 4, I'd say. Dives down into 1, goes 27th quick on the board. Maybe just not jiving with this next-gen car, it seems like. Bill Schoonover on track. Was quick last week at Talladega. Things changing at Dover. He's a little ways down the board in 30th spot. Now, a few cars not taking to the track in qualifying, those being Parker Bland, Brian Curry, Logan Sturgeon, Brad Fulham, Casey Knighton, Kip Easley, and Warren Kyle Keith, who's got a win on the season. A Schoonover proves me wrong, goes 18th quick on his 2nd lap, and Ray Rogers will go, how about that, inside the top 10? 6th place for car 18, a former race winner a few seasons ago. Miranda, the most recent race winner here at Dover in the MPI Cup Series, will qualify in the 2nd spot outside pole, which is absolutely no surprise for car number 99. Let's go ahead and get down and meet our starting grid then. On pole, Brandon Banks. Didn't quite catch his run, but very quick. His car 54 this evening in a Chevrolet Camaro. Definitely not surprised, though, to see Mario Miranda outside pole this evening for the Monster Mile 200. Starting 3rd, you'll find COTA winner Lawson Peel. Austin Reedy with a couple of wins of the season. Beginning, well, he won Daytona. He will start from the 4th position this evening. Starting 5th, you find Daniel Michel alongside Ray Rogers, who's got a win here a couple of seasons ago. Austin Shoemaker rolls off 7th. Almost had something great going last week at Talladega. Came up a little bit short with Curtis Kelly starting from the 8th position. Back in row 5, you find last week's winner, Steven Stempian, with Garrett Brown alongside somebody who made up a lot of positions in the point standings. He'll start 10th.
Row number 6, you're going to find the 55 of Joe Sanchez, who is outside will be the 1 of Dakota Curtis. We'll find our way back to position 13 and 14. It'll be Judd Danielson and Justin Erb there, 13th and 14th. Richard Swavely and Chris Shoemaker are going to be the 2 drivers making up row number 8. Swavely 15th and Shoemaker 16th. Row number 9, it'll be the 2 of Travis Stevens, the 6 of Dustin Reeves, and we'll find our way back to row number 10, the 9 of Bill Schoonover, and the 31 of Daniel Holdcroft.
Starting 21st, you'll find Ryan Kendall in car 68. Joseph Mahar goes 22nd there in qualifying in row number 11. Row 12 gives us car 7, Isaac Mock, with Chris Progar on the outside in car 17, sporting that Fastenal paint on his machine. Sean Kalis rolls off from the inside of row 13 with James Kunkel on the outside. It looks like the paint not quite loading for him just yet on car number 3, but Wyatt Brackett will start this evening from the 27th position. Charles Feltz outside. Then Alex Muscarello will start 29th, and Cody Kinsey will start from I almost said 93rd. Well, thank God, not 93rd spot, but 30th spot in car 93. That guy, I didn't quite know who he was at the finish of last week at Talladega. Yeah, the Wawa 93 is looking good today.
Find our way back to row 16. It'll be the 5 of Ross Harlow, the 51 of Zach Wilson, Richmond winner, trying to see if he can improve from the 32nd position. Row 17, it'll be the 77 of Brian Curry, the 42 of Warren Kyle Keefe. 35th and 36th will be Kip Easley and Logan Sturgeon, respectively. Back to row number 19. It'll be the 84 of Chris Knighton and the 45 of Brad Fulham. And on the final row for tonight's 200-mile race here at Dover, this is the driver of the number 01, Parker Bland.
The short warm-up lap here at Dover, already the field onto the backstretch, and these guys are ready to get racing. Again, 200 miles, 200 laps, as we get ready to go. 69-degree track temp. It is rather chilly getting ready for this one. Stages, the end of lap 45, the end of lap 90, and then a 110-lap sprint to the end. Just over half the race, we expect one fuel stop within that point in time. Drivers into the high banks of turns 3 and 4 for the final time of the Monster Mile 200 before getting running. Brandon Banks in control of the field, waiting on the signal from the iRacing flagman. And as we approach that restart zone, green flag will fly, and the Monster Mile 200 is underway. Lap 1 complete. Mario Miranda leads it, then it's Banks, Reedy, Peel, Michelle, your top 5. A very calm and orderly first lap.
Absolutely. You saw Banks kind of lose the pole position there to Miranda. Everybody else has kind of singled it out, and that's what you're going to have to really get into here. If you're still double wide, you're really costing yourself time and really positioning and kind of already putting your right front at harm. Everybody up here just kind of singled it out, and now they're going to try to put pressure on the car ahead. That's really going to be the way you're going to make up these spots without just dive bombing into the corner. Austin Reedy with the fastest lap.
And he goes to the inside of Banks, takes second spot away. The sun's starting to break through the overcast just a little bit. Going to warm this track up a little, maybe, as this race goes on. Reedy, a rookie in the series. You see the rookie stripe on his rear bumper. He has been so good this season, Emerson. And continuing that as we get back to a more conventional racetrack, I feel like. Obviously, Bristol Dirt, you know, Bristol is a conventional racetrack. Bristol Dirt, a little different. Talladega, it's a wild card, of course. But Dover kind of fitting right back into almost the intermediate vibe.
Yeah, if Austin Reed's going to take this season by the horns, this is really where he's going to start to reclaim that. A little bit of a bobble there out of turn 4, actually. You now look back and looking at Banks trying to close that gap. Just can't really get there. Actually, yeah, that's the 96 there of Reedy now closing in on Mario Miranda. My apologies. Looking to the inside and the dive into turn 3.
Miranda defending up top. This is our first good gauge of how battling might be here at Dover. The top side prevails, carrying up momentum off the corner. Not surprised that Miranda is able to keep the race lead. A couple of battles further back, Kendall and Mahar. As the leaders will start to space out, we'll dig a little deeper in our top 10. Ray Rogers now on the outside of Curtis Kelly, and Steven Stepien just behind.
Yeah, Stepien's watching these two battles, licking his chops because he knows he can at least get one spot if he can stick his nose down there to the inside of the 18. They go side by side down the front straightaway back into turn 1. And it is Stepien who clears by Ray Rogers.
Bear with us for a moment. As we're at least holding the stream, Emerson. We're doing something right, but it's struggling. Still on board here with Stepien.
All right, Stepien, he has opened up the advantage about the second over Ray Rogers. Everybody else is kind of up behind Ray Rogers. Stepien looks forward now as he's looking to try to see what he can do on Curtis Kelly. Double wide a little ways ahead as well. Lawson Peel takes that third position away from the 54, Brandon Banks. Banks slipping already from the pole position.
Should have graphics back here in just a little bit. You can see our leaders starting to get close. Miranda and Reedy. And if you're in Reedy's spot early on in this race, what do you try and do to upset that 99 car? Obviously, you already took your shot to the inside. You try and look to the outside, try and muscle around the top?
You can stick your nose up there, but I don't think Miranda would be too bothered by that because of how hard you have to drive to even make any sort of ground up there. If Reedy is able to get it done, well, bravo to him, but it's absolutely difficult up there. What you're going to have to do is really kind of get that entry and try to get the crossover on exit. Really use the hill to your advantage, kind of make that straightaway longer for yourself and try to give yourself more speed carrying into the next corner and then try to make it stick into the next corner. Two leaders duke it out. Reedy trying what he can on Miranda. Miranda's actually up the track. Reedy will take advantage of that. Reedy takes the race lead, and caution is going to come out as it is Dustin Reeves who is stopped in turn 4. It's like a single car spin, very minimal damage, but the caution comes out nonetheless.
We've got a picture of the sim. You know, Miles the Monster might be reaching out and grabbing us this evening. I don't know what's going on, and I really wish I did. But caution coming out here on lap 11. And we'll go ahead and try and get a look back at this one. As there's our ticker. There's our, well, it's not green flag currently, but that'll update here in a second. Car number 6, Dustin Reeves, had a great run at Talladega last week. And it seems like that will not continue this evening.
Actually, a lot more damage on the right front than I could tell.
Let's go back and try and find car 6. He's on his own here, following Justin Erb, who early on in the qualifying went to pole. And that's not quite what we want. Let's go back to Dustin Reeves here. You have to wonder then, is this a single car incident potentially?
I believe so. I believe maybe there was actually a mistake out of Erb directly in front and maybe caught him off guard here in the turn 3. As you see, everybody's kind of packed up here. That kind of happened with whatever happened to Ray Rogers way up the road.
Kind of follow along here with car 6, Dustin Reeves. We're actually going to advance a little bit in the replay and get to the point of incident. It should be off the back stretch next time through. So let's go back going here. One of those nights, Emerson, one of those nights that even the driver, well, the drivers obviously have to work through it. Even we'll have to work through it apparently. This will, well, this might not be it. One of those nights. Finally have it for you this time. This is out of turn 2 when we come back to it. Following Justin Erb out of the corner. You can see, I want to say, that is Chris Shoemaker just ahead. There's a slight checkup. Erb checks up, goes up the racetrack. Reeves tries to get a handle on it and just overcorrects, puts it to the wall. Really weird the way that car snapped.
Yeah, the balance of these cars is really weird, but there's a bad bump right under the Ally Bridge into turn 3 that really bobbles these cars. It really makes the entry a whole lot more difficult. And once you get through that bump, you're still trying to settle the car down, trying to get it woe down. And with that really quick checkup right in front of him, I believe he maybe jerked the wheel a little bit, and that just really upset the car. Unfortunately, overcorrected into that outside wall, and that's unfortunately a sad-looking X-side car on pit lane.
Bruce Grella gets back onto the track. He's got a lot of left side damage. Can only imagine where he picked all that up. All right, I believe you guys have us back, and you definitely should at this point. Restart, lap 15 onto 16. Austin Reedy gets going. 185 to go, back green flag. First lap in, Reedy over Miranda over Peel, Kelly in fourth spot. Once again, a nice and calm first lap to the run here, Emerson. There is a side-by-side with Brown and Sanchez for the back here. Sanchez with a win on the other 1 mile racetrack this season, Phoenix Raceway, side-by-side here through 3 and 4. Car 55, a bobbler. Oh, and even Curtis got very loose there in 3 and 4. He's got some right side damage. 3 wide down to the corner. And oh, they just barely cleared each other. Dakota Curtis dropping really quick.
Curtis hanging on as he's about to get swallowed up by a pack of cars. Here comes the 32, diving it down to the inside. That's Richard Swavely on the inside. Curtis just trying to regain control of his machine. Side by side off the corner. Swavely bobbles. I think Curtis maybe jumped out the gas a little bit as he saw that. And now he's going to be taken advantage of by the 4 of Shoemaker. Contacted by the 24 Verb.
Thankfully, there's no crash. They keep going, but Dakota Curtis has gone from inside the top 10 at the restart to 16th now into turn 3, just ahead of Justin Erb. More battling further back. Look at this pack of cars as they work through turns 3 and 4. Holdcroft slides in behind Brackett. Isaac Mock is back here. As our leaders start to spread out a little bit, I say that, but Stempian and Rogers just swap spots. With Stempian up to the 7th position behind pole sitter Brandon Banks.
Stempian looked pretty stout in that first run, really piling on the pressure on the cars ahead of him, making out spots one by one. Banks, on the other hand, has been dropping from the initial start of this race. He got the pole, and that's about all she wrote. Let's see if Banks is able to come in a little later on, nearly in the wall there. He's going to crack the throttle a little bit. That'll allow V81 of Stempian to take advantage, and don't look too soon. Ray Rogers, previous winner here in the MPI Cup Series at Dover, is ready to take advantage if he doesn't put it in the wall.
Well, Stempian goes on by in car 81. Now car 18 is trying to get on by. And already, we talk about Darlington stripes a lot. We've got some Dover stripes going. Rogers has been in the fence. Curtis has been in the fence. I think Banks might even have some damage on the right side of his car. Let's see. He's actually 54 might be clean. I think he's keeping the car a lot cleaner than others. No, he's got some damage. He's been in the fence at least once.
Yeah, and if you want to compare him, I'd say Darlington stripes, they don't hurt as much because you're already running up by Vol. If you're getting a Dover stripe,
yeah,
your car's
coming up off the bottom, yeah.
Your car's not having a good time.
Curtis Kelly and Lawson Peel, third and fourth. Lawson, how about this run? We picked up series coverage at Circuit of the Americas, and he went out there, won the race. Didn't dominate by any means. Miranda led the entirety of the show almost. But he came in clutch right there at the end, made a run to car 99, and obviously made contact in turn 12 to take the win away. But hasn't really shown great speed on an oval just yet this season since then. This, though, a great run for car 53 inside the top three, holding it currently over Curtis Kelly and Daniel Michel.
Yeah, absolutely. Lost the Peel. He chased down Miranda.
Problems for Ross Harlow, crashing on the front stretch. And this should give us a yellow.
And Race Control will throw a yellow flag for that. That is the 5 of Ross Harlow. I was just going to say, Lost Peel also got a podium at Bristol Dirt as well, trying to string some races together. Ross Harlow in trouble early here at Dover.
I want to thank those of you for sticking through some of our technical difficulties. It seems, for some reason, our broadcast machine is closing programs at random. So we're playing with it tonight. Ross Harlow here out of turn 4 with an issue. And just got into Progar.
At least from that initial look, like Progar was trying to avoid the wall. Just maybe wiggled a bit out of 4 and contacted the 5 of Harlow with the left rear to the right front.
Watch this one more time. Yeah, I mean, Progar's car just drops left. Nothing either one of them necessarily did wrong, but certainly if you had to pick a car out of the two, it would be on car 17, Chris Progar, as Harlow will come down the pit lane and head back out onto the racetrack with a lot of damage to his machine. We'll poke on through here at some point, as actually you'll have to stop and wait on the pace car, the pacing field as a whole, to go on by. Yeah, look at all that damage. That is a lot.
Yeah, it's a hefty amount of left side damage.
As long as the 4 corners of the suspension are straight, I think he'll be okay, but that is a lot of damage.
Right, I'm going to say it's not often on an oval that a car has a lot of left side damage, so I'm curious to see how it affects the handling of his car, but right behind that right front tire doesn't look too well as either.
We work with the second caution of the evening. We're going to take a quick step aside. There we go, and we'll be right back to you in just a few moments for the restart just inside of lap 30 of 200.
What I'm really proud is that I own MPI, the steering wheel company, and I'm building the steering wheel. This is my creation.
This is yours.
Yes.
It's so sexy.
The steering wheel, it's a very unique thing. It's shaped on the hand of Scott Dixon.
His hand.
Yeah. This grip has 27% more grip feel than suede. Scott in the race is gonna make less effort when he drives. When you're in the car, it's like having 40-pound dumbbell like this, maybe more in the car.
For how long?
3.5 hours. Average heart rate in the car, never below 150. Never below 150. You need to be a real athlete to drive.
Yeah.
They exercise every day. So this is my creation.
Amazing.
And we did.
Hi everyone, I'm Max Papis, founder of MPI. Let me introduce you to a line that we developed in MPI that is really dear to me. The MPI Sim Max. Obviously, Sim Max, the guy here. The reason of birth of Sim Max is the fact that nowadays I believe that sim racing and virtual racing is exactly the platform to start. I consider sim racing and virtual racing very similar to the experience I had in go-kart when I started in my racing. And let me introduce you to our line of authentic steering wheel created specifically for the sim community.
Welcome back to the virtual Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile 200, as we work lap 29 of 200 under caution. May 1st, 2022. It feels a bit like April 1st, 2022, Emerson, the way things are going today. But, hey, April Fool's Day or May Fool's Day, whatever you want to call it, will not hold us down. Austin Reedy certainly is not being held down either. Leader currently of the Monster Mile 200 in car 96. He is looking fantastic today, right back in form to go ahead and, well, at least contend for a championship is his hope, alongside Mario Miranda. You got Lawson Peel looking good today, Curtis Kelly, and several others. I think, really rising to the occasion here with an opportunity to gain some much-needed points early in the season. The pace car will drop back down to the safety of pit lane, and we will await once more a green flag here in stage number 1. Only about 16 laps to go in this stage. Miranda and Reedy starting to get after it. Miranda right on the back end of that Chevrolet. They get one lap completed. You can see the Team Mur Designs 96, just not as much of a lead off the restart this time, Emerson, but we can certainly see that change. I think the 96 is a little better once they get to running laps. We'll have to see if that changes this time as well. Miranda gets awfully close to that wall.
Miranda right there, piling under pressure.
Oh, he might hit him. He hits him.
Contact!
Contacted a 4, got the 96, all kinds of squirrely, but got off him just in time to not cause an accident. These two very, very close in the early goings. This is only stage 1, and Miranda's hounding him like it's for the win.
That's all good, though. You got fenders on these things. Go ahead and use them. Miranda now drives it deep into the center. Reedy gives way. Miranda powers and muscles on by Austin Reedy.
Here comes Curtis Kelly going to take advantage of it. We talked about taking advantage at the start of the show. There we go. Curtis Kelly up to P2. That's stage points if he can hang on to it. Reedy drops down to 4th. Here comes Rogers side by side with Michel.
I think Reedy really did not appreciate that most recent caution. He's about to get split here. Rogers around the outside. Trying to keep it up there. He will power by around the outside. Reedy has nothing to do but just keep it down on the bottom side. He can't open up the throttle or the wheel as much as he'd like. Now here comes the 25 of Michel.
Stempian closing in, Brown as well, Banks is here, Sanchez. A lot of cars in line if they can keep taking advantage of the slow 96. I don't know where the speed went away, or went to, but it's certainly gone away. It's left car 96 as he drops through the field down in 7th place now.
Well, I think with the tendency that Dover has in these longer races to kind of get some green flag runs, maybe he used a little bit of his stuff up early because track position is so key. And it's so hard to make passes here. If you just hold that bottom side 9 times out of 10, the car behind you is not going to be able to make that pass, even if they have slightly fresher tires than you. But I think that restart just kind of got him out of his groove, out of his rhythm, whatever it may be, all out of sorts. And Lawson Peel is now looking to size up Curtis Kelly.
This is Stempian and Rogers get back side by side. Stempian had to drive up to Rogers, as Rogers was actually ahead of Michel, who's now in the 4th spot. So Stempian, really on this run, is getting moving forward. I don't think... Well, yeah, they might have pit... Well, no, I don't think these guys... I don't think any of them have pitted yet. I think they're all holding out for the stage break. So we're lap 37. Our stage break will come at lap 45, so we're within 10 to go. As here we go. Peel looks to the inside of Kelly for a moment. And these guys are not far off of Mario right now.
Absolutely not. Miranda is not opening up the gap he'd like. Real quick, the first driver who's pitted is 26th place Kip Easley. Everybody else has not pitted in this race.
Working lap 38. Peel now down to the bottom side of Kelly. Big move there into turn 3, and that's going to stick. Car 53 takes it away.
Peel clears up, and now looking to see if he has anything from Mario Miranda, who has not been able to open up a healthy advantage, just 0.3 of a second, and that can quickly go away at a track like the Monster Mile. Danny Michel has solidly put himself in that 4th position as well.
On board now with Michel as we take about 5 to go. Now it's either 5 or 6 to go. Tendency would say 5 to go here. The trends, if you will, with the league would say 5 to go in the stage. Let's go back around that 10th place battle. This is where the points get cut off for the stage, Emerson. Joe Sanchez currently in that last spot that would get a point over Richard Swavely, who desperately, I would say, needs to get those points. He needs to get up there and challenge Sanchez. Banks really needs a couple of points that he's currently going to get, but these guys have got to get a move on cars 32 and 54.
And you saw there in the entry, Swavely entered high. He got a huge run on Sanchez, but nowhere to go. Sanchez is doing what you should do in a compromised position like that. Just make your car as wide as possible. Don't give the faster car the inside. If you do, you pretty much are throwing your hands up and giving up the battle. If you keep that car on the bottom, it's very difficult to make that overtake. Even if Swavely has that speed, he's got to dart to the inside. Now look at this battle. This is Shoemaker and Danielson for the 14th position.
Curtis Kelly with problems. He's slow on the outside of 1 and 2. Very slow in front of the entire field. There he goes out of the top 10. So Curtis Kelly, as soon as it was looking good, it's looking terrible. Drops outside of 12th place even. As Kendall goes on the outside. That promotes Swavely into the top 10. And now Austin Shoemaker is the first car out. Can he get a point here before the stage ends? Only about 2 laps to go.
I don't want to take our attention away from this, Andrew, but the lead is really tightened up. Less than a 10th of a second.
Lawson Peel wants a stage win before the end of this one, but he backs off a little bit there in 3 and 4. Miranda with a run. We're expecting this to be the one to go for stage 1.
Can Miranda hold on? He's putting that car right on that bottom side, but you see Peel, he's experimenting with that outside, trying to get that run off the corner, right? Miranda just had a perfect 1 and 2. In the 3, Peel wants to send it.
Is it going to be enough? And I don't think so. Certainly not. Mario Miranda going to take the stage win. And across the line, that will end stage 1. Then it's Peel, Michel, Stepien, Reedy, Rogers, Brown, Banks, Sanchez, Swavely. And yes, the yellow will fly. Really good effort there to Mario Miranda to hang on to that stage win. Solid effort by Peel to nearly get it. And I gotta say, I love Swavely just sweeping in there and barely getting that point. Goes on by Curtis Kelly, whatever issue he had there at the end of the stage. That was huge, and that's really big as far as the points as well. He went from earning 8 points, maybe 9 points, to earning 0.
It's unbelievable how quick things can change here at Dover. And again, he's not that far out. He's 12, but 12 doesn't pay any points.
Yeah, 12th would still be a good result at the end of the day, but when you're trying to get into the top 10 to earn points, of course, in these stages, first gets you 10 points, second gets you 9, third gets you 8, and so on down the line until 10th only gets you 1, and 11th on back, that's 0. So you have got to get in the top 10. It is so quintessential in today's, NASCAR racing. We'll call it NASCAR racing, even though it's the MPI Cup Series. If you're going to run these kinds of leagues, you have got to get stage points. There's no other way to look at it.
Stage points are pivotal. They can make or break a playoff push. If you're one of those drivers who is close on points, you have to look at making points up different ways if the results aren't always there. Maybe strategizing your way into some stage points. But this is going to be the first pit stop for the entire top 25. So intriguing to see how this all plays out for drivers. I'd imagine 4 tires and full fuel for everyone, but who will be reigning supreme on fresher tires?
Waiting on drivers to exit. Everybody going to take 4. Miranda should be the first one off. At least logic would say so. But Peel might drop. Nope. It will be Miranda first out of the pit lane. And Peel will go second, then Michel, then Stepien, Reedy, Brown, Banks. It looks like Sanchez, Swavely, then Shoemaker. So not a whole lot of variation, I don't think, in the order. Aside from Ray Rogers still in the pit lane. Car 18 with a problem potentially. as he is still stopped. He is still stopped in the pits.
Well, there was a lot of damage to that right side of that 18th machine. I believe maybe he thinks it's better off to get this damage repaired early, try to keep it out the wall. The
Looks pretty
rest of this
okay.
race and move forward. Well,
I don't
not
know.
really sure.
Might have also been one of those things where he was actually dropping out of the car for a second to look at the replay in the sim and see how bad the damage was. I've done that many times myself. I'm sure you have as well, Emerson. It's good as a driver if you don't have a team around you that's spectating the session. It's good to be able to get that look at the car and see what you're actually dealing with. Mario Miranda does win stage number 1. Let's go ahead and drag in the Burt River Motorsport driver of car 99. Emerson, here is your stage 1 winner.
And Mario Miranda had to really fight that stage in several ways after taking the lead away from Brandon Banks, getting overtaken by Austin Reedy, then re-overtaking Austin Reedy and having trouble there at the end. Mario, a hectic first stage, but looks like up front is where that 99 should be.
Yeah, the Monster Mile does disappoint, and yeah, I was all over the wheel for that whole stage. You know, I had to keep my patience. I knew the long run is really, really important here, so I wasn't too upset Reedy taking the lead, but I knew if it went green I'll be able to take it back, and it happened. But during that battle I wasted my tires and then really had to fight lost the fuel off at the end there.
So how do you balance that, especially with this stage being a few laps shorter because of the caution period? How aggressive do you have to be to hold on to the lead? Say we go this entire second stage green wire to wire.
It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like a feeling you get within the car. If you feel like you're pushing it, you probably hear the car, and you just gotta take clues around you, and also the pace of the field around you, and you just gotta tone it down a bit, and you'll definitely see it pay off, in the final laps, 15 laps of the stage.
Well, Mario, the current race leader, our stage 1 winner with 27 laps led to his name already. Best luck to you, the rest of the race, driver. Hopefully we're talking to you a little later on.
All right, thank you guys.
Was driver of the number 99 and the current race leader, Mario Miranda.
He's going to bring the field down to the restart here in just a few moments. An opportunity to control restarts is always nice as a driver. And Lawson Peel being second is likely going to drop anchor a little bit on the start. It's so hard when you're restarting second. We talked about this at Richmond, Emerson. It's so difficult when you're restarting second to get an eye at what the driver in first is doing, what the leader is doing, and get an idea of when you need to hit the throttle, when you need, it's so difficult. We'll see if Lawson Peel can deal with it here. But as we come to the restart for stage number 2, Miranda in control, then Peel, Michel, Stempian, and Reedy, your top 5. Green flag flies. We're back racing the Monster Mile 200. See some 2x2 here up out of the corner. Kendall and Kelly side by side as we'll complete lap 1 of stage 2. Or at least the first green flag lap of stage 2. Shoemaker took a look to the inside of Banks for a moment. Kelly sits in behind now.
And Curtis Kelly looking to see if he can make up spots from his early issues towards the end of stage number 1 that kind of left him without any stage points there at the caution break. And we'll see if this is going to be the start to end.
Garrett Brown, good
sideways.
save.
The 16 of Garrett Brown holds on to it. Curtis Kelly also loses some momentum down the straightaway, but looks like everybody stays straight.
That was a big save there for Garrett Brown. Good job making sure his car didn't go around. He's now in front of Zach Wilson, just behind Ryan Kendall, so he's in the 11th spot. So already from thinking about stage points once to thinking about it again, as Austin Shoemaker goes sideways, and there's, a big crash on the front stretch. That will not prompt a yellow just yet. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, no move from race control to get that yellow flag waving. We stay green. Looks like Swavely maybe, I would have to look at it again, but just maybe bounced into the right direction and kept going.
I mean, he gets back going, but there's a lot of damage on that car. I'm really surprised that didn't warrant a yellow. Let's see if we can take a replay of it while green. Really surprised that didn't give us a yellow. So he's going to get loose here following Austin Shoemaker through the corner. Watch this up out of turn 4. Shoemaker in the 14. He slows down. They both get loose at the same time. Shoemaker keeps going. And oh my goodness, Kendall and Swavely pound the inside wall. And Swavely nearly at a dead stop. And again, somehow no yellow. Now Chris Shoemaker has a problem live.
And Chris Shoemaker around off of turn 2 was trying to catch that one as well. But he's hauled all the way down to second to last car to lead lap, and here's how it happened.
Loose on the top side. Oh, Brackett, good job missing that.
Now that, oh no, it takes up the pit cone as well. Oh, nearly back into traffic.
Good job keeping the car as low as he did. So Ryan
That's
Kendall
tough.
is in for service now after all of this, and this is really detrimental to his day. I'm very surprised still there was no yellow thrown. As you can see the field going by, Kendall drops down to the 37th spot. The only car stopped in the race, as these guys will keep going easily. And Progar doing battle here. They're working at turn 3. You can see the 3 car just behind of James Kunkel. This is for 14th place, Emerson, and you know, this is where we can start focusing on some more of the midfield as Progar steps out. Car 17 starting to act a little evil.
It's the second time we've seen the 17 of Progar kind of get sideways there out of 4. First time was on the top side. That time nearly washing up into the car that was outside there. Progar just trying to hold station and keep that thing going in the right direction. That car does not like corner exit for what it looks like. Now looking at Stempian, now looking on Michel for 3rd.
You see the entire top 6 here in frame. Peel starting to look at our leader, Mario Miranda on the outside. And I think he's going to make a move. Yes, he does. Briefly to the inside of car 99, looking for the lead. You see the 25 in 3rd. That's Michel. 4th is Stempian. 5th is Reedy. And he's starting to hound Stempian even. I think he's keeping his stuff together a little better this run than the previous run.
And we kind of saw that. We can look back to our last paved short track at Richmond. Reedy was really good on the short run early on, and it kind of fell off. You saw later in the race, he kind of took better care of his stuff. Now, you'd imagine that kind of would translate over into the next race, but I guess experiment that first stage and use it the rest of the race.
Speaking of our last short oval, Emerson, I'm glad you bring that up. Zach Wilson, who won at Richmond, led over 300 laps. He is in the 8th place so far this evening. Looking pretty good, I'd say, and trying to put a good run together. As yes, we do have a yellow, and I heard some tires screeching, and oh my, Justin Erb is around on the front stretch. He does not have a nose in that car.
Leads me to believe there's only one type of crash like that.
And there aren't many ways to crash at a turn 4, but there is one popular one. We'll see what happens to him here. This is into turns 3 and 4. He's following Bill Schoonover ahead of Chris Shoemaker and Ross Harlow, who's got a lot of damage. And that car bobbles, steps out, and does a nice little spin. So it's not the most popular way anymore, where usually it'd be hitting the wall, Emerson. Now it seems like these cars just step out over the bumps and go for a ride.
That was actually different than what I expected. I thought the car, yeah, would either just gotten loose or hit that wall and just nosedive into the bottom side. He actually was heading towards the outside wall and then unfortunately had it nosedive to the inside.
He almost had a really good correction there. I mean, he almost saved
right.
it. Let's go on board and watch this. He nearly saves the car and then just unfortunately puts it into the outside wall. And it's maybe night done. Almost had it and it just comes around on him. Even then almost had it going and then just released the brake at the wrong time, I think.
Right, still so much speed. He had to really get that friction out of those tires to roll it down a little bit more. Unfortunate, he'll round himself back into 35th now.
Well, in the Monster Mile and technical difficulty 200, we've had a few lead changes already. Well, 2. 4 cautions for 13 laps, one of those being the break for the stage. Ross Harlow getting a lap back now. And if we look at recent races here, Emerson, it's been 1 per season the last couple of seasons. We have records detailed through seasons 3, 4, and now this is season 5. If you go back to season 3, we talked about Ray Rogers with a win. He led 32 laps in that race after starting 8th. That race had, well, it went 200 laps, had 8 cautions for 32 laps, and 9 lead changes. Last season, season 4, in both of these races with the NASCAR Next Gen car, by the way, last season we saw 182 laps run, 12 cautions for 45 laps, only 2 lead changes, as Mario Miranda led 171 laps after starting second. Guess what? He started second this evening. He's leading laps, and currently we only have 2 lead changes. The numbers, they just seem to go his way.
I wonder if he is a stats and trends person. The way he interviews, it seems like he just gets in the car and goes, but I wonder if there is a little to that.
We talk about Zach Wilson, most recent short track winner, at least pavement short track winner. We'll throw Bristol out the window. And, I mean, even if you want to count Bristol Dirt, well, guess what? It was Miranda who won that one. Zach Wilson's looking pretty good, I'd say. I guess there's something to it. I didn't know if it would translate from the asphalt in Richmond, Virginia to the concrete here in Dover, Delaware, but so far, car 51 looking pretty good, I'd say. He's into the 8th spot, had a little bit of a green flag run there, obviously works through stage number 1. I don't think he got stage points in the first stage. I think he was just outside, but he might have been just inside. But either way, the Battle Beaver 51 car, you can't argue against him right now. Certainly, maybe not looking like a race win tonight, but looking like at least a top 10, top 5.
Certainly a great run, and while it's not the most popular line to do at Richmond, I hear a lot of chatter at Richmond about kind of diamonding off the corner. It's not my cup of tea, but I know that is more of the preferred way to do things here at Richmond, and maybe there is something to how you're running similar lines, or very hectic close quarter racing, and maybe just thrives on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few ways to run here at Dover, and I like that you bring up the diamond in the corner from Richmond. That is one way to get around here. Even in the 70-some laps that were run today in the actual NASCAR race, they talked about diamond in the corner, entering low, washing out high at center, and bringing it back down to the bottom side for exit. It gives you, I think, an easier way to carry speed into the corner, turn the car at the center of the corner anyways, and then get back down to the exit, or the apex at the bottom of the corner to get back up out of the corner and straighten out that exit and lengthen the straightaway almost. You're putting the throttle down a little bit earlier if you're able to do it just right. So maybe that diamonding is going to work out for him. We'll see. As Mario Miranda and Lawson Peel make up your front rows, we come back to take the green flag in just a couple of moments. Michel Stempian, 2nd row, then it's Reedy in 5th, Sanchez 6th, and car 99 will control this restart once more. Already off and away, green flag. And Reedy, a big bobble. No, it's Michel, a big bobble. Reedy's down to the inside of him, 3 wide. Nearly a crash in those first couple of corners, but we keep racing. Ooh, Progar nearly at the wall. Michel at the racetrack. Reedy did not take that spot away. The first lap of this restart goes in cleanly, though. Peel, Stempy, and Sanchez following Miranda. Then you see Michel, Reedy here. Wilson gained a spot off the restart, got ahead of Brandon Banks. Garrett Brown, Austin Shoemaker currently complete your top 10. We're racing for about 20 more laps here in the first stage. And oh, look at this. Muscarella, who had a lot of damage earlier on. Emerson, he's down to the inside of James Kunkel, looking for a spot on the inside of the Ghost. Number 3.
He rolled 3 and 4 very well. Couldn't get the exit. And that would be due to Kunkel having that higher, kind of longer straightaway, higher line off the corner. But Muscarella, I wouldn't count him out of stage points at this rate. He is on it, and he's really looking to size up Kunkel here. If he can just find that way to his inside that can last off the corner here, Kunkel will be able to get a little bit of a better corner exit here. But Muscarella, I wouldn't count him out.
Danielson and Progar, contact back here. Mock is slow as well. Danielson very slow on lap 69 of 200. And look at this, back up here into 1 and 2. Oh, Holdcroft down to the bottom. We've got the 93 on the top side. He backs out wisely. That is the new Cody Kinsey to the field. Glad he's, well, keeping the car in one piece at least back here. My goodness, traffic jam. We keep racing, and oh, now the 32 is slow. Swavely.
And it is about that time in sim where we have rush hour traffic in real life. Everybody kind of darting around the two slower cars. Mock trying to hold station that bottom side, and Mock is pitting in. He is now alerting to everybody in sim. He is coming in.
Yeah, he's got problems. I think cars hit the wall there on the outside of the corner, and it definitely Danielson and Mock got slowed up at the very least, as Isaac Mock will come down to the safety of pit lane. Unfortunately, it's not the safety that he wants. As Fulham will lose a spot here to Holdcroft. Brad Fulham has had a really rough time of things, at least in our time covering the MPI Cup Series. He's back here in 25th position currently. Sturgeon and Curtis do some battle. This is for 22nd. You see Curtis has been into somebody at some point. In addition to the wall contact that we had from him earlier on. So the Dollar General number 1, looking a little bit banged up. Looking a little bit wrinkled then, I guess, if it's a Dollar General. And you get the point. Here we go for the race lead.
Peel had a nice dive into 3, but Miranda, he really is taking advantage of that middle lane, corner exit, and just really extending the straightaway, really putting the power down. And it actually just feels better to kind of let the car angle off the corner like that, instead of trying to keep it glued to that bottom here because of the banking. I guess the flatter track of Richmond, it doesn't feel that way, but here, it's almost welcome.
Peel looks back to the inside. I think at this point, Mario's toying with him a little bit, just giving him that little bit of air at turn in, but coming back down at center. It seems like Miranda's almost doing the opposite of a diamond, right? He's entering a little bit higher, and then I actually noticed Kyle Larson doing this earlier on today. He's dropping down right to the bottom side through the second half of the corner. So for turn 1, for example, watch how he enters a little bit higher and then arcs down in center and gets right to the bottom of that concrete, right on the top of that asphalt through turn 2. He did the same thing in 3 and 4. I like that line. It's working for him.
How much do you want to bet he was taking mental notes watching the
right there.
70 or so laps, watching earlier racing action?
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing a great job of working that line. And usually the Larson line is up around the top side of the racetrack, Emerson. That's not the case here at Dover. It seems like it's entering a little bit off the bottom side of the racetrack and then right back down to it on exit. It's working.
All that battling has allowed Steven Stempian to insert himself into the lead battle here. We have 14 laps to go in this stage.
Proper side by side. There goes Peel.
We washed up a little at the center.
Side by side on 2, though. He is not giving this one up this time. He's going to challenge the inside of turn 3. You see Stempian in behind. Peel charges the inside. Checks up a little bit. The top side prevailed earlier. Will it here? No, yeah, it will. Peel very loose out of the corner. Good catch.
Miranda had to fight for his life on that top side. I know that right front tire is not happy with the way Miranda had to drive it that deep on the outside, but clean air is king when it comes to a single file line like Dover.
Stempian checks up. Kind of a chain reaction there. They all kind of lose a little bit of time. And this is allowing Daniel Michel to check back into the battle. So a far car battle potentially. Joe Sanchez is not far back. Let's call it 6. Austin Reedy's in the line.
The only thing is, if something happens, battling for the lead, you might be able to wipe all 6 of them out cautions on the speedway.
Oh. Daniel Holdcroft in trouble on the front stretch. And when I say in trouble, I do mean in trouble.
Oh, man. Leaders were coming quick on that one, and he moved from the bottom to the top.
Gonna look back at this, as this is gonna be a relatively single car incident. We'll watch the leaf filter 31. White numbers on his roof just ahead of that red and yellow 75 car. Kinsey slow on the top side. I think might check him up a little bit. And yeah, he tries to restrict his exit. Oh, a phase full of contact for Charles Feltz. And boy, oh, somebody else got him. Let's watch this from his onboard now. Really unfortunate one here for Daniel Holdcroft. Let's go to the onboard and watch this.
He was trying to give that car on the outside some room. Just can't.
He tried to pinch off his exit. It just got loose.
When you get that low, it gets really free because you're changing the angle, the balance of the car. Oh,
Scoon over.
Wow. And I just want to say, a lot of cars came in the pit right there, but not Mario Miranda.
So did the fake actually potentially work? Well, you know what? Austin Reedy stayed out as well, it looks like. A lot of cars actually stayed out at this one, I think, trying to run to the end of the stage. And I don't think the guys that gambled, I don't think it's going to pay off in this stage. They might get a few stage points out of it, but if you look at the whole top 20 stayed out. The whole top 20. Miranda, Reedy, Wilson, Brown, Shoemaker, Kelly, Brackett, Curry, Easley, Kunkel. That's your top 10. Then Muscarella, Rogers, Curtis, Stevens, Harlow, Sturgeon, Swavely, Fulham, Kinsey, and Kalis all stay out. The first car that pitted Emerson is way back here at Lawson Peel. Stempian followed. Then it was Michel, Sanchez, Banks, and Progar.
For a second, it did seem like Miranda was a lonely man out there. I saw Reedy then join him. But yeah, Lawson Peel down in 21st. He's obviously more focused on the bigger prize waiting for him at the end of lap 200 than the potential stage points at the end of lap 90.
Well, Drinking Bros Racing's number 53 car is looking pretty good today, but he did just go ahead and come down the pit lane. Lawson Peel, let's talk about the strategy call here. You pitted, the top 20 didn't. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, if we can just survive until the stage break here, run these next 6 green flag laps or so clean, not burn the tires off, I feel pretty good about it. I tried pretty much everything I had to pass Mario there. He certainly wasn't going to let me go, so I feel like this could work. I don't know. I highly doubt we will run that entire third stage green, so if we can just recoup our track position here at the stage break, hopefully it'll work out for us.
Did you pit hoping you could try and catch Miranda out and bring more cars down?
I figured more would come with us. I didn't know what he was going to do, but this is what I wanted to do. I mean, when it came out, I figured, we're not going to run, but, 6, maybe 7 green flag laps here. So I figured most everybody behind us would do this, and if we didn't do it, we would, get burned here at the stage and lose some of that track position. So I guess this might be the safer play, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Well, hey, you also were very, very close to getting that stage win in stage 1. Could you have done anything differently there, or was it just a matter of, well, you just had to deal with it?
Well, didn't want to push too hard. It's a little loose with the track being cold. So just trying to take what it'll give you, survive till the end here, and maintain our track position. Track position is key here at Dover. For the aero reasons, you get back in there, you just kind of get stuck, and most of the accidents seem to happen mid-pack to the towards the rear back there. So just trying to stay up front and keep our track position here.
All right, Lawson, thanks for your time. Best of luck on this restart.
Yep. Appreciate it.
He's restarting 21st for this one. We've got inside of 10 laps to go. I don't like his chances to get back into the top 10, but hey, weirder things have happened here at Dover, especially at Dover. We'll see how this one goes. Your leaders, Miranda, Reedy, Wilson, Brown, and Shoemaker. Restarting the 5th spot in the 14 car. We'll come down to the green flag in just one moment. Base car in. And Mario Miranda launches off and away. Green flag back out in stage number 2. Wyatt Brackett side by side with Austin Shoemaker, who's already lost 1 spot on this restart. 1 lap complete off of it, and the 14 is struggling.
Now, Shoemaker doing what he can, maybe on damage control up here, just trying to hold on to maybe some stage points. Brackett not able to clear him, though. They're still at it side by side.
Brian Curry trying to find a way by, goes down to the inside now. Shoemaker up top. Kunkel and Rogers battle behind these guys. Here's those two. Cars 3 and 18. And the 18 with the advantage, but it's the 48 who's got the last stage point currently, as Curry will go on by Shoemaker, it looks like, at least nose ahead for the time being through the corner. Kip Easley's there in the top 10. Muscarella, the last car to take stage points if the stage were to end now. Make that Easley.
Muscarella's on a mission to get those stage points. There's Ray Rogers up in 11, trying to see if he can maybe poke his head in for that one final stage point right there. That's just dangling right in front, trying to get to the inside of Kip Easley. Keep pinning him down a little bit on that bottom side.
Good move. Oh, Shoemaker in the fence. That's going to bottleneck the entire field here. No issue, though. Easley drops down behind Rogers. Shoemaker up top a little bit slow. Muscarella trying to pinch off car 18. Almost contact out of turn 4. And now 10th place is between Shoemaker and Easley. And a caution is out. A slow car, it's Logan Sturgeon. That will end stage number 2 as well. Sturgeon will get back rolling. So your top 10 at the time of the stage here, or at least at the time of the yellow, are Miranda, Reedy, Wilson, Brown, Kelly. That's your top 5. Then Brackett, Curry, Muscarella, Rogers, and Austin. Shoemaker hangs on for a stage point. This is a lap before the incident, Emerson. We'll be able to watch this entire thing unfold.
Yeah, Logan Sturgeon, he's here in the middle of the pack. A little bit of the chaos is happening directly in front of him. But Sturgeon just minding his own. He's got himself a little bit of a gap here. So I'd imagine something has to happen in front, or this is a single car incident. Way up the track in 4 and a little bit of a bobble.
Oh, he gets hit there by Kinsey as well. Heard the crunch.
A little bit of an assist.
And car's checked up, missing him, I think. Yeah, there was an extra crash.
Oh, no.
And that was Chris Shoemaker turned around on the front stretch. Watch this one more time. We'll see the contact with Kinsey and Sturgeon, then jump back to car 4 here. Yeah, got loose, and then Kinsey boots him, sends him for a spin. But then there's a checkup, and there was already Parker Bland was already sideways, and Shoemaker lost it on his own. And this really brings out the yellow. Kendall got into Schoonover got into Kendall, and they pull away relatively easily. So, kind of 2 incidents all at once.
I wonder if Shoemaker. I mean, I know he was loose out of 4, but I wonder if he
tried to control his exit. Okay. You could see Parker Bland slow up top.
Or I wonder if there was any part of that trying to maybe avoid the car that he might have been on a crash course on the bottom side of Logan Sturgeon. I don't know how much of it was that, or was it just 2 accidents happening at the same time at the same place.
Miranda wins stage number 2. Austin Reedy goes second, which means we'll go ahead and speak with Austin Reedy. At least if we can go ahead and find him quick. Down there with Fast Banana Racing, Curtis Kelly, Daniel Holdcroft, a few others. And Emerson here is driver 96.
Hey, Austin Reedy, it's Emerson in the PitStop TV booth. You'll be in the 10th position here, but you've been really fast all day, duking it out with Miranda in that first stage, and then had a chance in that second stage. What is it going to take to get around that 99?
Got 110 laps here. I think we just got to keep the car clean and conserve these tires a little bit. It's going to be interesting what happens here with these few guys that short pitted that stage. So tires are weird here. I really don't know what to expect. These guys might keep up the pace. We might have to be battling here. So we'll have to see. Hopefully we get put in a good spot.
So we saw stage 1. You did take that lead. You got yourself 20 or so laps led, and then towards the end, I guess that last caution at stage 1 didn't help your case, but it looks like Miranda really roared to life there. What was it, more of that, or were your tires kind of going there at the end of stage 1?
I'm not really sure what happened there. I was getting passed on the outside. I just did some adjustments and try to switch up the line now, so I don't know, maybe I can dial it in here for this last stage, but I'll put that behind me and try to focus up here.
How aggressive will you be trying to get through these 8 or so that are ahead of you that are on 10-lap older tires?
I think you really got to be patient here. One over push and your race is over, so we got 110 laps. I mean, I don't want to force the issue too early, but I also don't want to sit here too long, so it's going to be a case-on-case basis. We'll have to see what happens, though.
Well, you're doubled up and ready to go, Austin, outside row number 5. Best luck to you, driver. Hopefully we'll talk to you a little later on.
All right, thank you, man.
Austin Reedy, 21 laps led so far tonight. It's a pretty big number, actually. 21 laps out of this race have gone the way of car 96. That said, things are going to change now. Lawson Peel, your race leader, staying out under this yellow. Everybody else pitted, aside from your top 8. So Peel, Michel, Stempian, Sanchez, Banks, Progar, Mahar, and Shoemaker. Largely that crew that pitted under the previous yellow They will stay out. Then it's Miranda and Reedy making up the back end of your top 10, and everybody else that came in under this stage break that was prompted by the incident with Sturgeon, Kinsey, and Chris Shoemaker, who oddly enough stays out in the 8th spot. Green flag headed back our way on lap 93 now of 200, just over 100 laps to go at Dover. Lap 1 off the stage. Nice and clean.
Yeah, Lawson Peel for the first time all day has clean air to his name. There's Chris Progar holding station at 6th position, but Lawson Peel, let's see what he can do up here in this clean air. And I know that, you know, he hasn't really been putting that, you know, staple result on a traditional oval, but with that run at Coda and the podium at Bristol, they're starting to string these races together. He's under heavy pressure from Steven Stempian. If Lawson Peel can put himself in a great position here, I think this is going to be massive momentum into the middle portion of the schedule.
I would certainly agree. There was a problem this last time through the front stretch for Mario Miranda. He's down to the 9th spot now. He was up into 7th, I believe, as Reedy has moved up into the 7th spot, chasing Chris Progar here. Chris Shoemaker is between Miranda and Reedy in 7th and 9th. Shoemaker in the 8th spot, Zach Wilson just behind these guys. The other car that stayed out that has dropped back so far is Joseph Mahar. He's only down to 11th spot though, so not too bad given the circumstances. As here we go, Reedy down the inside of Progar and Miranda to the inside of Shoemaker here. Easy passes.
Yeah, it definitely will feel easy to those drivers on the
no pass is easy, but
tires.
it's easy by comparison for sure.
Certainly. These guys up here that are lined up here in the top 5 now these are going to be the harder overtakes. Not only are they just running a little bit faster, but by the time they get to these drivers, that's when the tires are going to even out a little bit. Of course, the Reedys and the Mirandas, they'll have the fresher tires by those 8 laps. Now this is Miranda on Progar. This is imperative if Miranda's going to stay with Reedy, but the caution on the speedway, wreck on the front straightaway.
Oh, and Ray Rogers, Dakota Curtis, and many more. Oh, and Curtis rolls away before the track is clear. A lot of cars slow in 1. Got Danielson slow, Ryan Kendall.
Kunkel.
Yeah, Kunkel's involved. Big problems. You're right, Emerson. We are getting much later in the day than I thought we would here in the sim. I don't think we're fighting darkness, but we're not fighting light.
No, it is 6:55 in sim. This is a little late in the day. We'll see what happens here. Dakota Curtis might have rolled up on an accident here.
Side. Oh, wow! Austin Shoemaker, who grabbed a stage point, is part of this. And Curtis, that would be an unsafe release in F1.
An unsafe rejoin in IMSA for sure.
It looks like this is all going to start with Ray Rogers on the outside of Wyatt Brackett. They were not far back of our leaders. You see Garrett Brown in picture, Joseph Mahar. So this is inside the teens or so. Around 14th, I'd say, as Rogers just gets loose. The car steps out, barely misses Harlow, and he does a spin on the front stretch. A few cars get by. Kunkel slides in with contact from Stevens. They all just piled together.
He got hit about 3 or 4 times there. He just keeps getting pummeled, and there's not a whole lot you can do when you're spinning across in front of traffic at Dover.
Get one more good look at this. This will be from above the speedway. We'll even slow this one down for you. Rogers is going to get loose on the outside of turn 4. Harlow is lucky to be missed by this. Very, very lucky indeed. Kip Easley as well. See the 84 that we have not talked much about. He goes on by. That's Casey Knighton. Easley, I think, might have gotten a piece. Muscarella very close to getting damaged. Might have netcoded into some contact. Curry just barely gets by. Kinsey there. And then Rogers starts coming down, and there's a checkup with Curtis, and he gets hit by Shoemaker. Schoonover never checks up and tries to squeeze. I mean, there's already smoke for quad at some time. You've got to check up. And he might have been on the brakes, but just lightly trying to keep from locking up. But it looks bad, at least optically.
Yeah, and that front end won't do him any favors as the consequence of that. But we're looking at about 8-9 cars in that incident, and lots of them with heavy damage.
Yeah, Swavely got a piece. I think Parker Bland might have, and you can see Danielson and Kendall barely scoot on by without issue there once Curtis starts rolling away. So a really big incident this time on the front stretch. Really going to have some impacts on this race. And I think the biggest impact is that Ray Rogers is now out. More than likely, as there's the damage number 1 of Dakota Curtis. Ray Rogers, all that damage on the pit lane now. He will not be going anywhere. Richard Swavely is just behind him. Actually, Swavely is well down the pit lane. Yeah, that car's destroyed.
Miles the Monster's a little hungry tonight. It is about dinner time.
There's Schoonover with his damage. James Kunkel got a good piece as well. Travis Stevens even. Didn't mean to rhyme that, but it works. So, yeah, that Rockwell Security number 2 is in a lot of trouble, I'd say. So some big contacts there. But you know what? For all that we've seen so far tonight, Emerson, there are not many cars out of this race. We still have 31 cars that's down through Charles Phelps and Dakota Curtis on the lead lap. Your only car one lap, actually you have a few cars one lap down. Ray Rogers, Austin Shoemaker, and Richard Swavely, they're in the pit lane and likely done for the day. So really, you have your 31, they're on the lead lap, and then you have a few cars that are out of the race. That's Ray Rogers, Austin Shoemaker, Richard Swavely, Logan Sturgeon is officially out. Dustin Reeves actually is still running along with Isaac Mock and Ryan Kendall. Reeves is, let's pull this up, he is 35th. And he actually just passed Logan Sturgeon. He is 12 laps down. Isaac Mock is 37th. He is 17 laps down. And Ryan Kendall, who almost was a part of that, is 38th, 25 laps down. Warren Keith, 104 laps down, is very much out of this race, 39th.
Yeah, this many cars running, that's a trait you associate with most short tracks that aren't Dover, that have slower speed incidents. Dover's really one that takes cars out, so that is surprising. Maybe it's a testament to how strong the next gen car is,
and how strong these guys are I guess, trying to get points. How strong they're willing to be, try and get points, even if they're out of the race effectively. They want to try and get whatever points they can, and I think that's certainly the case with Dustin Reeves, where he's on the bubble to make the playoffs. He needs all the points he can get. He's got to stay in this race as long as he can. Coming to the restart zone, Lawson Peel rolls off and away. Stempian checks up a little bit, but the top 3 get rolling. Green flag is out on lap 103 of 200. Few onboards there as we come around to complete lap number 1 off the restart. Austin Peel, your leader over Michel. And is Stempian and Sanchez just behind. And again, Sanchez, he won the other 1 mile racetrack so far this season. That was Phoenix Raceway back in what, race 5 or so, race 4. And looking great today. Not necessarily, again, he's a lot like Zach Wilson was early in the race, Emerson, where he's not looking like he's going to go win the race, but he's looking like he's going to put himself in position to take advantage of it. As you see a pass there, Stempian for second goes to the inside of Michel. Moves the 25 car up the racetrack a little bit. And that pass is complete.
I could agree with that. Now he's going to be under heavy attack by Miranda and Reedy and Zach Wilson. Actually, Wilson's another couple cars back. This is Miranda now on the 55 of Sanchez. Sanchez is looking now to just be on damage control and salvage what he can until the pit window opens. No, he's going to fight back hard.
There. A big bobble there for Mario Miranda. The bottom side is not very good right now. It's good when the driver wants to facilitate that pass, but now Miranda drives around the outside. That is new tires at work. New Goodyear Eagles, or at least newer Goodyear Eagles on the 99 car, doing some work there for Miranda as Brian Curry has got a problem. He is slow on the racetrack. He is slow in turn 1, but gets back rolling. Sean Kalis a little off pace as well on the top side. But a great move there for Miranda. We'll see if Reedy can replicate that.
I think Miranda, his goal is get to clean air as soon as possible. Reedy, now you heard back there in the interview, he's going to take it 1 by 1. He's going to be a little patient here. He understands there's still 92 laps to go, this time by the start-finish line. He has plenty of time to pick these boys off 1 by 1.
On board with Daniel Michel in the 3rd spot. Oh, a bobble there. That's going to bring Miranda into the conversation. Does Miranda drop low? Yep, here he goes. Car 99. Michel's been easy so far. Is he easy here? Not quite. Wyatt Brackett in trouble. Car 10. Yellow is out. He is parked on the front stretch. Driver out of Maine. Not quite a home race for him, but it's at least up in that part of the country. It's a rough go of things. Chasing Chris Progar here, and Chris Shoemaker ahead. Now that is a standard Dover crash.
That's more like what I'm used to seeing. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of Wyatt Brackett's competitive night, but that's a staple Dover wreck if I've seen one.
Launches again for car 10. Wyatt Brackett out of the corner. The car is just going to go up and keep going up. It bobbles for a second. He's not able to control it. That's a massive hit. That's his night. Let's watch this from Chris Progar's perspective. I'm excited to see how it looks from the onboards here. You can see Brackett running lower through the corner. The car, it settles on one of these bumps, goes up the racetrack right there, and big contact. Wow.
He looked really low out of the corner, and he is already disconnected from the session. He has called it a night.
Yeah, he started to roll after the incident, I think realized just how down on power his car was and decided, yep, that's it. And I can't say I blame him with the amount of damage that he picked up in that one. We're going to go side by side under this yellow and bring you some racing action here in just a few moments as the field works lap 111 of 200. This is, the Monster Mile 200 from, the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Don't go anywhere. More racing soon on PitStop TV.
Hi guys, today me and Moose welcome to my extremely formal presentation of my two latest creations, the MPI Sync Chassis and the MPI Foldable Stand. When I created the MPI chassis, I wanted to have everything included, what it means. So in the MPI chassis, I wanted to have everything you need besides the electronics. So it has the keyboard tray, mouse tray, adjustability, TV stand, computer stand, super stiff pedal assembly, a seat that if you want, if you don't have a lot of space, you can fold it. If you have limited space, I solved your problem. The MPI wheel stand, you can use any component you want on it, and at night, fold in half, very limited space, and you can put it away. You can use your own chair, your own TV, problem solved.
Fuller. Yeah. Needed F-150 for Smith build.
Got it.
Yesterday.
I know.
Don't forget my BMW.
Gotcha. Check this out. All the major online automotive sites in one place. BMW, done. F-150, done.
How's he do it?
I can search nationwide, even those classified sites. Auto Tempest, all the cars, one search. That's how I do it.
Is that I own MPI, the steering wheel company, and I'm building the steering wheel. This is my creation.
This is yours.
Yes.
It's so sexy.
The steering wheel, it's a very unique thing. It's shaped on the hand of Scott Dixon.
His hand.
Yeah. This grip has 27% more grip feel than suede. Scott in the race is gonna make less effort when he drives. When you're in the car, he's like lifting, he's like having 40-pound dumbbell like this, maybe more in the car.
For how long?
3.5 hours. You know, average heart rate in the car, never below 150. Never below 150. You need to be a real athlete to drive.
Yeah.
They exercise every day. So this is my creation.
Amazing.
And we did.
Welcome back to the virtual Monster Mile, of course, Dover, Delaware, giving us one of God's better racetrack creations. I really do enjoy this place, at least from a fan perspective, Emerson. It always produces pretty good racing. Sometimes it produces those snooze fests where, yeah, a car does drive off and lap the field, but that's really cool to see sometimes, as long as it's sometimes. In this place, I think 9 times out of 10 will give you that good race, and that one time will maybe give you one day where somebody dominates, but it has not been that. It's been back and forth so far in the MPI Cup Series Monster Mile 200, and green flag is back out just like that from Dover. Powerful restart from Mario Miranda. He's already challenging to the outside, and he will go to second place. Well, maybe not. He's going to try, though. Takes the second spot away. Reedy now looks to the outside of Sanchez. No, it's to the outside of Michelle, rather. You can see the field file up out of turn number 2. Stempion, though, was not going away. The 81 is sticking with Miranda so far. On a bobble there out of Miranda. Well, everybody who didn't throw tires on in that yellow has heat cycles. And these guys up front, they've got 2 or 3 heat cycles now. If you continuously heat cycle tires, you're going to have problems, right? You're going to see the grip fall off. Heat cycling, of course, being where you get them up to temperature under a green flag run, then you get a yellow, they cool back down, then you go back at it for a green flag run, then you get a yellow, cool back down. You know, that's what a heat cycle is, and we've had a few so far. Seven total sets. I wouldn't think they'd have to conserve tires. I think it's just track position to try to go after. As Wilson and Brown do battle out of turn 2. This for 8. Oh, Brown! No! I thought that one into existence. I was literally about to say that Ross Harlow was putting a good comeback together, and now he's parked on the inside wall. Ross, you can't bill me for it, but you can send me a strongly worded email for that one. I thought that one into existence. The commentator's curse bites telekinetically. Well, you know, JP, yeah, I'm usually up here with JP, but, you know, throughout the week, be it with BSR or NARL, there's where Wilson checks up out of 4, and that really prompts this battle. But JP seems to always give the commentator's curse to Fiona Siddons and BSR, so I guess it's good for him at least to know that I'm thinking them into existence now instead of speaking them into existence. Let's go on board of car 5. He was watching Brown and Wilson battle, and now, after Wilson bobbles, Brown bobbles, and this is a big hit. Oh! He immediately knew it was done. Just turned to the left, locked it down, and that was it. But where does Brown go in all of that? He kept rolling. I think the only car that crashes here is Ross Harlow, and he was just absolutely an innocent bystander. Oh, Progar. Progar with a big hit there, and Shoemaker got some damage too. But yeah, he's been in the wrong place every single time. Richmond, I'd say a few of them were his fault, his own doing, but tonight, very much not the case, as many cars are down the pit lane. Curtis Kelly, one of them. Garrett Brown is in, of course. Judd Danielson in car 85. Cody Kinsey, and there's Dakota Curtis with all of his damage coming down. There's Chris Progar, and the pit time is pretty normal. That does not look like he took too many repairs. Impressed, as there's Alex Muscarella on the racetrack as well. And now this guy, I was talking to him earlier. We're going to work on some paint reveals here with the MPI Cup Series, one of the more active leagues I've ever seen on social media, and definitely want to try and give back in some way. Going to work on some cool collaboration posts soon, and it was actually announced today that we're throwing it back next week at Darlington, just like NASCAR does. Initially, it was maybe going to be Indianapolis later in the season, but drivers got the confirmation today. We are throwing it back next week at Darlington, and already working on some things. We'll leave it at that, but a big thanks, first of all, to Kinsey for throwing the logo on his car. You can see it right there on the bottom of the door. But also, he was telling me we got to get him a little bit of a TV time here. And I see, well, Wawa certainly all over the sides of that car, but I see Paul's setup shop there on the bottom of the quarter panel, and I even see somebody there on the deck lid. Looks like, might be a graphic shop. I think that's what it is, but that's an interesting name. It's clever, I'll give him that. Yes. And there aren't many of them out there. So lucky so far that he's kept that car clean. Up to the front, though, the field is single file still. We should get the 1 to green this time by Emerson. I do this to JP a lot, and I think he's starting to get tired of it, so I got to push this off to you. Call your shot. Who do you have here to the end? We've got a little under 80 laps to go. In fact, 78 this time by the start-finish line. Under yellow. Your leader's on a 41-lap run technically, be it through some yellows, and second place on a 32-lap run, and then it's spread out sporadically from there. Who have you got here?
He's looking to see if he can get around his 53 car on this restart, and if he gets a run long enough, he just might do that.
If you had to, though, would you?
Oh, if I had to bet against Mario Miranda, or pick one.
If you had to bet against Mario Miranda, if you had to bet against the 99 car. Because you said you can't, but...
Oh. If I had to, I guess the second best, Austin Reedy.
Okay, car 96. You know who I would almost go for the underdogs in this situation. I say they're underdogs, but they almost aren't. Cars 81 and 53 have looked great tonight. And if somebody's going to slip up, I don't know if Reedy is good in traffic. It seems like he's good out front, but not so great in traffic. Sempian has been great in traffic tonight. And Peel has been sensational since taking the race lead. Was great in traffic earlier. I got to look to either one of these two on the bottom side for this restart. Lawson Peel and Steven Sempian have looked fantastic. And, of course, there's Daniel Michel just kind of riding there in the 4th spot for this restart. He's been very quiet, but quietly loud, I'd say. That doesn't really work, but I think you get the point. He's been there just quietly. Restart, though, a little over 75 laps to go. In fact, 77 that time across the line. Green flag back out. That lap goes complete nicely and easily. Restarts have been easy on these guys so far, Ryan Emerson. I'm quite surprised.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much. I think these drivers slowly work their aggression up. And maybe it's because the track is so cold that the tires don't get up to temp enough for them to really do too much on that first lap. It's those second and third laps after the restart where the business starts to really pick up. Mario Miranda goes fastest. Now Daniel Michel fastest.
These are on old tires. I'm impressed. I really am impressed. We're watching a battle with Zach Wilson and Brandon Banks. This is pretty important. A couple of really good cars back here. Banks put it on pole tonight in qualifying, and Zach Wilson, of course, your most recent short track winner on pavement anyways. Go back to dirt, it would have been Miranda, Bristol dirt, but on pavement it was Wilson at Richmond as Parker Bland has got trouble. R01. Gets back rolling now, but...
He started 39th on the grid tonight, last car on the starting grid, and he was having a little bit of a decent run there. He worked his way up in the mid-pack.
Oh, here we go for the race lead.
From he doesn't dive it in there, though. That's actually not... A caution's on the speedway. He probably should have.
James Kunkel now in trouble, car 3. On the front stretch again. It's been the front stretch. You know, that is just about as you would expect for Dover.
Turn 2's actually been pretty tame. It has been turn 4 absolutely wreaking havoc tonight.
Well, you mentioned the bump under the Ally Bridge into 3. I think there's a bump exiting 4 as well. And when you don't have the ability to tune a car for the racetrack, when you're running a fixed set of brakes, I think that makes it a lot more difficult, particularly in 3 and 4, because you have that bump. But if you're able to tune the car for the bumps, I think the trouble spot becomes turn 2. As here's Kunkel's issue following Kip Easley. The car just gets loose.
there's not going to be a happy pieces inside that 3 machine after that heavy hit.
That's about when you drop an energy drink on the floor and it explodes. That's how that car's like.
Majority
Please
of the
tell me
field
you
is
picked
the
that.
road. I don't do energy drinks, man.
But Ghost, it's an energy drink. So I get it if you don't, but hopefully somebody out there got it with me. Ghost is one of those new energy drinks. You can see energy's zero sugar there on the hood. But yeah, that car is all kinds of scraped up. Fantastic scheme. They did move the door number up a little bit, but fantastic looking 3 car there. As you called it, Emerson, a lot of pit stops out of this yellow. And they all begin with our leaders. Miranda came down the pit lane, Peel came down the pit lane, and they haven't left just yet. So waiting to see who exits first. Left sides on the 53 tell me he should exit first. There he goes. Will he get it? Yes. Very
Miranda give him a run for it.
Stempian follows, then Michel, and 3 wide between Reedy, Sanchez, and Wilson. I think Sanchez, then Reedy, then Wilson in that order as our leaders come off the pit lane. But 12 cars stay out, those beginning with Muscarella, then Cody Kinsey in the 2nd spot, Judd Danielson in 3rd, Joseph Mahar in 4th, Curtis Kelly in 5th. And Emerson, I know you're a Jimmy Johnson fan. It's got to feel good to see a Lowe's-themed 48 car leading at Dover. What do you say we try and dial up Alex Muscarella and hand him your way? You're going to find him in Discord, though. These guys, they've got so many different team channels. He's down there in Sega Keith Motorsports. With Justin Erb and Parker Bland, here is driver of the 48.
And we'll bring him on up, driver to number 48, and a new race leader in this race, Alex Muscarella. Alex, it has been a chaotic race. You got yourself involved in a couple of incidents, but you've rallied back to this point. What has that fight been like?
I mean, I've just been trying to just run a line, I guess. Like, I didn't expect everyone in front of me to pit there. I don't know how I'm the leader, and I don't know how long I'm going to be the leader, honestly. I don't feel very good here tonight. I've just been kind of digging, so I guess we'll see.
Well, you're on 11 lap old tires to this point, and you've got 70 laps to go in the race. Math says you should be able to go to the end. How does it feel now with this fresh air, or clean air you're going to have at the front of the field? How will we be able to hold on to this spot?
I'm honestly terrified I'm going to spin out of 4 in front of the field. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to hope for the best.
Well, Alex, you do have a lot of good mojo with you running that car number, that paint scheme at this famous Palace Ford at 48. Jimmy Johnson, of course, what were we, a 10-time winner here? A lot of wins. I'd imagine that you're a Jimmy Johnson fan. Is that the case here?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much since I first started watching this stuff, so.
Well, sure. Certainly it's got to feel good to put that 48 at front at Dover now.
A little bit. Like I said, though, I don't know how long it's going to be up here, so.
Well, Alex, we'll let you focus up then as you get ready for this restart. Best luck to you, driver. Hopefully we're talking to you a little later on.
Hopefully. We'll see.
Alex Muscarella. I think I love the honest interviews, and I also have to say, what's that?
That's a pretty tense interview.
Yeah, I love the honesty, though. Definitely doesn't feel great, but we'll see how it goes. I also love the name rail decal. Do you see that? It's a mozzarella stick being stretched. I love that. That is the best detail I think I've ever seen on an iRacing paint scheme. Props to, I'm pretty sure Warren Keith put that one together. That is a mozzarella stick for his name rail, and with a name like Muscarella, I understand it. So props there to the Sega Keith Motorsports guys putting that one together for car 48. Coming to the restart, a little under 70 laps to go. In fact, I want to say 68 at the drop of the green flag here. It's a 48-93 front row. Muscarella and Kinsey in a checkup there from Mahar, but green flag is out. Couple of cars wide in turns 1 and 2. Emerson, but the top 2, they get out single file, even 3rd and 4th, orderly.
This is going to be
a big crash! Austin Reedy around. Big crash in the backstretch. It's a lot of our leaders in that. Herb is in it. Reedy's in it. Kendall comes to a stop.
And I was going to say, this is going to be chaos right where the fresh tires are going to mix with the old tires. And
Reedy's
First,
done.
well, we just talked about crashes not happening at restarts, Andrew.
Yep. Let's not invite the drivers to be mad about that one. Let's not. So Austin Reedy, big contact here. There's a checkup a little ahead of him. I had noticed a few cars going all kinds of directions into one, and I think it starts with a bit of Mario Miranda to the middle. Schoonover was slow on the top side. Michel went 3, Stempian there as well, and Michel came down into Reedy and just hooks him. Wow. Oh, Feltz! No, that was Curry. Into Brown. Oh my goodness.
Massive hits. Those are the Dover hits I was kind of talking about. And even though we weren't even up to full song yet with these things, big, massive hits. That's going to end a lot of competitive nights. And right, this is the 16 to Garrett Brown.
He and Brian Curry get hit out of nowhere. Especially going board, I think, with 77. I think car 77 will be a better one. Brian Curry here, you can see more of what's going on. You can see Wilson dancing around, easily moving around a little bit, trying to find the right spot. The checkup up ahead with the 3 wide. And he's just going to get walloped. Oh my goodness. Right into Garrett Brown. Wow.
You know, if that's a right front suspension's intact, I think he got out of there actually relatively clean.
Who's that, Curry?
Yeah.
Maybe, but you know the way iRacing goes sometimes with performance damage.
Sure.
We'll see.
But who doesn't have damage like that at this point?
You raise a point. Let's go on board with Reedy.
It's really close quartered race. Reedy was trying to power by on the fresh tires, and the older tires have a little less grip, and they just kind of didn't mesh.
Let's follow Michel through this. He's kind of where this starts, admittedly. I talked about him being quietly good in the top 5, and this time just a little loose, trying to manage the gap there to the outside with a slow-mo Schoonover. Makes the contact there, and he's probably part of it. Got hit there by Herb, back into Reedy. Props to Dustin Reeves for checking up for all of that. Go on board with car 6.
It is tough to when a crash happens like that, sweeping across the racetrack to avoid it. No, he did have a little bit of time to do so, but nonetheless, doesn't make it any easy.
Especially the self-cleaning racetrack with the 9-degree banking on the front stretch. 9 degrees of banking on the front and back stretch here. Oh, that's close. 9 degrees of banking on the straightaways, Emerson. That's more than a lot of tracks have at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's comparable to, I think, turns 1 and 2 now at Phoenix. It's only a little bit less than Martinsville has in each corner. That's a good bit of banking on the straightaways alone.
I mean, with some cameras, it looks like they're sideways going down the straightaways. It really is a mini hill, and certainly a lot of drivers felt it there. Brian Curry being one of them.
So, what was a decently green flag race earlier on is drawing closer and closer to nighttime. You might have caught it during our side-by-side a little while ago, but there is a beautiful sunset off of turn 2. I mean, that is gorgeous. And I mean, you know what? Admittedly, if the clouds weren't there, it wouldn't be as dark as it's looking. But that's looking like we're getting awfully close, potentially, to the nighttime. Dover Motor Speedway does not have lights. If we run too late here, we will have problems. I don't know that the race will be called. I don't know how that'll be handled, but certainly running later and later, a beautiful sunset off at turn 2. It's got to be in the mind of these drivers of, are we going to make it to the end of the race?
Yeah, definitely race control as well. Like, what is the plan if it starts to get really dark here? There's no lights here.
Do we call this one for darkness at some point? I mean,
I wonder if we keep at this pace where we get, yellow after yellow potentially.
If you're Muscarella, you got to feel good about that. I know he sounds rather rather remiss about his race so far, not at all optimistic, but if these guys keep stacking it up with the new tire, old tire line, if we get a few more yellows, he might start to feel pretty good. We might have to start thinking about calling this for darkness. We'll see. A long ways to go, though. Still over 60 laps in the Monster Mile 200. Muscarella on point. Kinsey caught sleeping. Green flag back out. 60-some laps to go. Oh, a big crash. A big crash in 1 and 2. We're back under yellow. Lawson Peel is in it. He is backwards.
Lawson Peel was the highest running driver on the fresher tires.
Oh.
On the other end of that, Alex Muscarella had about half a second of an advantage in 1 and 2. He did not want that one to happen. He was gone.
Curtis not happy with Peel, I'd imagine, with that one. Big crash in 1 and 2. And there was a big stack up on the restart, Emerson. You'll see some of this, I think, start to unfold pretty quickly. A good reason why, or at least a good idea of why this stacks up in the first place. Payless is going to back up. He's 8th on the restart. He just doesn't go anywhere. That's already stacking up the top side, getting them antsy. Peel, of course, wants to go somewhere. He's been so good tonight. Miranda down to the inside, makes it 3 wide again. And oh, he just... Stevens and Miranda make contact. We'll leave it there for now. And oh, not holding the brake.
Oh my goodness.
Was that Justin Erb in the 24?
I believe so.
Massive contact for some of these guys. And Peel lets it roll down the hill when Curtis is trying to get there.
I mean, I know it's tough to avoid accidents here, but they were just getting going from the restart. I'd imagine there was a little bit of time to woe it down.
2. Let's watch this from the 2's on board. This will really show us what happens in the 1.
Right.
Muscarella points his nose down there after the start-finish line. I just don't think there's a gap there. Well, I mean, there is. And yeah, technically there is, and Stevens turned in.
It's aggressive, but he was there well inside of the...
He had room.
Very aggressive.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think he should have made the move. I think you can see why.
Right.
It's really catching... Well, it's forcing something you don't have to with 60-some laps to go. I don't think he should have made the move, but he's got room to the inside when he goes down there. Watch Miranda again.
That's the if gap car mentality.
Yeah,
there was a gap. I don't know if it was the right gap, but there was one gap.
And then Peel's got to get on the brakes a little sooner there. Herb with nowhere to go.
Right, yeah. I do notice that now. Peel did kind of come down the hill. Herb, I mean, a little high up on the hill. Maybe, could have dropped it a little lower, but there's a lot of chaos going on there.
Watch from his onboard. Really heavy hits coming later in this race.
This one's big.
Checking up. That car should stay high, and all of a sudden, I can understand it.
Sure.
And then Dakota Curtis, this poor guy, he's trying to just pass all this, and here comes the 53 car off the wall. He was properly way behind all of this, did his job to check up, was on the apron, and you'll see the incident, well, the contact anyways here in a moment. He sees all this happening, gets out of the apron soon. Fantastic job of just holding himself out of it, and then here comes Peel down the racetrack. He stopped and then went again. Just a series of really unfortunate events for Lawson. None of that obviously is intentional. He's not trying to release the brake and involve anybody in the crash or drive down the hill into anybody, obviously, but just a really unfortunate set of events for him.
That's just like coming home after a hard day's work and getting slapped in the face. That hurt.
Just about everybody stays out. Your first hitter under this yellow is Casey Knighton, 20th. Daniel Michel, 21st, then Austin Reedy, Garrett Brown, they all pit. I was going to say I was surprised by Reedy pitting, but remember, he was involved in that accident a couple of yellows ago. Looking through the field, I'm not sure what to expect anymore. Miranda, I think, has been... I actually... Oh, he's 9th. Okay. For a second, I didn't see him in the order at all. I thought maybe he was chucked to the rear of the field for that, but no, he is 9th place. Stempian is 11th.
Wilson 12th. That's top 3 on the fresh tires. Well, if we call them fresh anymore.
Here's a look at that sunset growing off of turn 2. Getting lower.
That is concerning for spotters and league admin as a whole. I mean, is there protocol if it gets too dark? I mean, I imagine it just would have to take driver opinions into it.
See here in just a few moments how this restart goes. Muscarella, your leader. Mahar is 2nd. And they're warming the brakes up, warming the tires up a little bit here on the front, or on the backstretch rather. Kinsey will restart from the inside of row number 2, position number 3. And Emerson, we've got a little over 50 to go, a little over 55 to go, as it should be at 58 laps at the time of the green. It's Muscarella, then Mahar, then Kinsey, then Kelly, then Danielson, then Progar somehow in this top 6. K-List is there in 7th. Green flag is out and a stack up, and oh boy, we're crashing. We might roll green, but Kinsey just got punted to the inside wall. I think they're gonna let it go. A lot of race controls would call that one back. I think we just want to get this race in.
That might be part of the pressure of race control.
I can't blame them.
Right. Mario Miranda.
Oh! Progar crashing!
This one's gonna hurt.
More cars involved, Banks with contact, Feltz, and we are somehow still green. The whole field is strung out now. You got some side-by-side back here around 12th. Feltz ahead of Shoemaker, and there's where Kinsey drops down to in the 15th position in car 93. Everything that we thought we knew about this race out the window. Muscarella's got a 3/10 lead over Mahar, then it's another 2.5 back to Danielson, then Curtis Kelly, Sean Kalis, Zach Wilson, they do battle. Wilson might win this race. He might at least battle for the win with Miranda here soon.
What is the state of Mario Miranda's tires at this point with how aggressive he's been and all the heat cycles to the inside of Curtis Kelly?
This is just insane stuff.
Power by V85. He's clear.
Moves up in front of Danielson there for the 3rd spot. Danielson and Kelly almost contacted a 3. Wilson with a great view of this. So now Miranda can start chasing down Mahar. Kelly slow out of 4. Here goes 3. Kelly down, or not Kelly. Wilson down to the inside. Takes the bottom line away. He's going to bring Stempian.
And Wilson, if he wants any chance of Miranda, he's got to go now. He's got to get by these guys.
What a wild string of events. I'm still reeling from that restart.
Wild, to say the least.
On board now with Joe Sanchez. He's in 8th here. Miranda's got 2 seconds to make up to Muscarella, a 1.5 seconds if he wants to make it up to Mahar.
On board with Miranda, and
if this goes green, I can't help but think Muscarella's in the best spot.
Certainly, Miranda is chopping the gap down to Mahar quickly, and you're starting to notice Miranda's doing that mini diamond. He's just riding up about half a lane and using the exit off. Now this is on board of Wilson, who's gotten by Curtis Kelly. Wilson now has to set his sights on Miranda, or at least sticking with Miranda. Now Stempian has to get by Danielson and Kelly.
Side crash! Stempian nowhere to go. Big crash into one.
Somehow Stempian gets not too much damage in that, but wow.
I think he's going to have to at least pit for it, and that's going to realistically ruin his night. He might still pull a top 10, but that's really problematic for the 81. That right front damage is going to hurt him, the left front, and just the track position he's likely going to lose here. If he sticks with it, he might be all right. I don't know, but man.
I mean, we'll see in the replay. I think he might just have a little right front tap and a little left rear tap.
We'll see here. Well, let's actually go a little further back. This will be a good look at it out of turn 4. Oh, this is out of turn 2.
Danielson was pressuring Kelly, and Kelly just bobbled there at the center of 3 and 4, and he was riding it.
Yeah, Curtis Kelly out of the corner. Just gets loose, overcorrects, collects Danielson. Stempian contact. You might be onto something, Emerson. It's not as bad watching it from that view. A couple of big hits, though.
Certainly, doesn't want to take any damage, but I guess if you have to take any, it's not bad.
Let's watch it from his onboard. It's out of the corner, chasing Zach Wilson. Kelly's car steps out, overcorrects, boom! That's still a big hit, but he might be all right. Especially if we keep getting short runs, he might be okay.
And I think he fared well in the terms of what do you do in that situation? It's a self-cleaning racetrack, so you don't want to go low, but you're catching him that quickly. You got to dart low. That, I mean, split-second decision, and I think, it's probably the better of the two.
This is some more proof as to the issues out of turn 4 tonight. A couple of big bumps in that end of the racetrack, and Sanchez gets a big piece of that as well. Oh my goodness, and Austin Reedy coming into that one with abandon. Let's watch that back. You see him go flying through there?
I didn't even notice that.
I just caught it that time, and he's here with Brad Fulham in turn 4. The crash is starting about now. Tucked behind the 45, the 45 checks up. He's full song. He didn't lift until turn 1. I mean, I think that's just an annoyed race car driver, unfortunately seeing red. There's no excuse to be full song past the crash. No, right? No.
The yellow's been out. His position is locked.
Thankfully, I think he did more damage to himself than Kip Easley, but you can't. You just got to have consideration for the others on the racetrack.
He still finds himself in 11th and somehow still, would have a chance in this, the way this race has been going.
The lap 153 of 200. And the last 20, 30 laps have completely changed the shape of this race, Emerson. We're now up to 13 yellows for 48 laps. I really thought this race would have gone a bit more green, but my goodness. The first 2 stages were okay. We had small incidents. It felt like a classic NASCAR race, didn't it? Where, there was tire wear, comers and goers, a couple of yellows. The stage breaks kind of, came in there and fit nicely. But then we passed lap 100, and these guys decided they wanted to race it. It has been all out.
Traditionally, this race does kind of go green. I just don't see too many times where 39 cars on a 1 mile monster of a racetrack where that goes well 200 times around. It certainly is bit these drivers hard tonight.
We say 39, we're down under 30, I think, at this point, of quality cars left running. A few stragglers, maybe a few laps down, but man.
Oh, no, Joe Sanchez just wrecked under yellow.
On the front stretch, oh my goodness, that car's destroyed.
Absolutely ate the wall, and race controls extended the caution, now 2 laps to green.
This is going to change things up. Oh my. This is killer. Let's go on board with him. He's trying to burn off those rear tires. Watch this. Just... The first rule of doing anything extracurricular under yellow, be it saving fuel, cleaning off your tires, or anything, the first rule is to not crash.
The way it looked, from my point of view, it looked like, he dropped down a gear, but there he was already in first gear. He throttled up.
He put the clutch in, and I think he's going between saving fuel here and trying to burn off the rear tires, and the car is just going to jump, and being on the banking, it spins the rears and sends them for a spin. Wow. Never thought I would have seen that tonight. But, I mean, we've seen so much this, and he's going to be restarting 6th still. He gets his position back.
He held a spot, yeah.
This will be a big liability on the restart. We just don't know how... The engine might be okay, but he's got no front bumper. That means no front splitter.
It's not going to turn the way he wants.
Reduced aero, yeah. That's a liability into the corner, and I don't mean that a bad way to Joe Sanchez. It's just not going to go. At least not the way he wants to.
Got to watch out here.
So we have got somewhere to the tune of 33 cars left running. Many of them laps down. The worst of them all, Ryan Kendall, 35th, 25 laps down. Richard Swaley still in the race in 34th, 19 laps down. Curry and Mock are 17 down and 32nd and 33rd. But our leaders are Muscarella and Mahar. Miranda is 3rd, then it's Wilson, then it's Stempy, and then Sanchez with all that damage. Let's ride on board with Sanchez here for the restart. You can see the sky growing darker. Green flag is out. Lap 155 gives way to lap 156. And now the onboard of Sanchez. How does this car fare? a lot better than I would have thought.
Absolutely. Look at this. Miranda to the outside of Muscarella.
Battle for the race lead now. Muscarella, a sitting duck. Miranda's been so fast all season, all night. Wilson's there with him. A 3-car battle down to turns 1 and 2 for the race lead.
Muscarella put that car perfectly placed in 1 and 2. Still holding that bottom side. Miranda's got to use his stuff if he wants this spot. Muscarella holds station on the bottom side. Miranda around the outside.
Miranda powers on by the 48. Lead change. 99 back to point. Wilson now going to find a way by the 48 car rather. A slight bobble there for Mario. Muscarella might have a better car than he thought. Down to the bottom side for 3.
He's not done, certainly, and Miranda might have burnt his stuff up to working to this point. There might not be a whole lot of life left, and Muscarella, even with 10-lap older tires up front, might have just taken better care of his stuff.
Muscarella chasing Miranda here. These guys are not done. 41 laps to go this next time by the stripe. Fourth place Sempian now gets clear of the traffic behind. Sanchez is 5th. I'm so surprised that car is hanging on. If you look at this car, you would never expect it would run top 5. It blows me away.
Maybe he just got lucky and iRacing makes it look worse than it is, but that looked like a heavy hit, and Zach Wilson has powered by Alex Muscarella, and Zach Wilson wants to put himself another win on the season. He's outside the cut line, but he's got a win. It would just mean, I think, a lot more if he could just be inside that cut line on his own anyway.
On the list of drivers that you wouldn't expect to be where they are, Austin Reedy, 12th. Chasing Ray Rogers, 11th. Chasing Chris Shoemaker, 10th. This race is something else. I don't know anymore. Fulham's still ahead of these guys. He's going to lose the top 10 now as Rogers goes on by. So move Ray Rogers into the top 10 with the night he's had. No front bumper. Here comes Reedy for 11th.
Yeah, these drivers, they've been through the ringer. This has been a war of attrition, a race of attrition, an endurance race, if you will. It's starting to look like that on the running order with cars, all over the place. It's starting to look like that in terms of pace. Cars at whole different pace levels. This is Stampian on Muscarella. Now Muscarella just trying to play damage control. It's gotten really dark on that track, Andrew.
Yeah, we've got all the makings of just trying to run this race out to the end. It is getting darker and darker. And again, if it weren't for the clouds, if it weren't for the overcast conditions, I think we'd be okay. But as well, as the sun drops here, Emerson, so will the temps. So we're already dealing with a very cold day here in Dover, Delaware. It's going to get colder. Side by side for third, Muscarella and Stempian. Side by, oh man, that was close out of the corner. Muscarella's car is moving all around.
Muscarella's just trying to hold on here. He's fighting hard on Stempian, pinning him down on the bottom side.
Great look here at this battle as we run down to turn 3. The 81 just can't quite get clear. Now he might. I think that 81's finally got the power on the inside. Maybe not. Still side by side for third across the stripe.
I'd have to say, I think Muscarella's confidence might have jumped up when he led as many laps as he did, because he cleared back in front of Stempian.
I think Steven, pulled back. Let's pull the tires down. We've still got over 30 laps to go. In fact, 35 the last time by the stripe. Still plenty of racing to go here in the Monster Mile 200. We're nowhere near done.
Stempian has to drive it hard, and he still can't get clear. He can't even get his nose that far ahead. Muscarella powers back by.
We'll let these guys battle and cover some of the other battles. There's a lot of these drivers you guys want to keep up to date with. How about Kip Beasley and Chris Shoemaker? Into 3 and 4, they're 8th and 9th. Ray Rogers still in the top 10. Michel and Reedy, here we go. This for 11th. Michel much faster on the outside. Goes on by the 96 like he's standing still almost there, Emerson. That was a good pass.
Yeah, Michel make proper use of that outside lane, and I don't know what the shape of Reedy's car is, but it certainly didn't look too well battling up against Michel. Here's Curtis Kelly We just saw him sideways on the front straightaway not too long ago. Dives into the inside of Fulham there. Fulham's been dropping. I thought Fulham was inside the top 10.
The car is clean, but I think he's just a little off pace today. And here comes Kinsey to the bottom side of the 45 now, but Kelly is working on Casey Knighton. Casey Knighton and Cody Kinsey joined the league last week and have been fantastic today. Maybe not, fantastic as far as a top 5, a top 10, but have kept the cars clean aside from the small little spills for Kinsey. Not even his fault as Kelly looks to the inside now, but that 84 is still looking very, very clean. And for only his second start here that we've seen, no complaints. Looking pretty good. Dakota Curtis and Parker Bland, cars 0-1 and 1. Curtis in the very damaged Dollar General Toyota Camry takes that spot away from Parker Bland. I'm so impressed that Parker's in the lead lap right now. And that Curtis is on the lead lap right now. Both of these guys.
I'm impressed. A lot of these cars are still running.
Yeah.
The way they're looking. But at that, the chop there from Parker Bland. Is Schoonover that he chopped it?
Parker Bland, just behind him, that is Travis Stevens and I'm blanking, Kendall in the 68 as Bland gets onto the inside there of Curtis, side by side still, as we're inside of 30 to go. Let's move back up in the field. Easily working on Rogers. In fact, Rogers has actually gone on by, so I think it's the other way around. Rogers works on past easily. Muscarella and Wilson for second and third. Wilson has not been able to gap Muscarella, while Muscarella has absolutely gapped Sempian. This is bizarre.
Alex Muscarella, he really had those restarts where he was the leader to himself. He was able to not jump the start, but he got out in front of the field with a decent enough margin where he didn't have to push. He might have just taken care of his stuff that entire time he was leading. It boggles me that he has, the age tires that he does, and he's holding that pace. I'm on board with Joseph Mahar now, looking at Brandon Banks. And Banks, for as much as he was free-falling through the top 10 from the pole, he's holding station there in 6th. Oh, in the wall there is at the 55.
Sanchez gets a piece of the fence out of turn 4. 26 to go that time. Banks rolling up on him. And I think Sanchez's tires are starting to fall away and give way to the damage. As Banks goes to the inside, I think we expected that a while ago. Mahar going to follow. But Chewy, number 19, got track position. It's not going to happen that time. He's going to have to wait one more time around, it looks like. Miranda's clear of Wilson by a little over a second. Clear of Muscarella by 2. And Steppian's starting to get closer. Do we have a battle for third again? We do. Here we go.
Miranda's fighting some hard lap traffic, but Steppian right on the back bumper of Muscarella. Trying to dive to the inside. He saw it. That car got loose out of 4.
Down to the bottom. Steppian fights. Oh, up the racetrack a little bit for the diamond. They cut back down out of 2. Still side by side. And Steppian looking the best he's looked all run long as he lurched out of the inside of 3. He's going to try up the racetrack again. But is it going to be enough?
Muscarella putting on an insane fight on that top side. That top side does not perform that well.
Oh, contact. Maybe.
Muscarella is holding station up there. Steppian this time might have that nose into the corner. Still going at it. Not clear.
Oh, man. He almost had it that time. Side by side still. They were locked in this battle. Steppian might have to back out again and wait for lap traffic because Wilson and Miranda are fighting through it. Oh, up the rail again. Almost gets into him. And they're not losing much time because of the traffic ahead. You can see Scoon over there, Stevens, and they come down the racetrack.
This is some dense lap traffic they're approaching. This is fantastic. You don't get to see this much side-by-side at Dover.
Not locked side-by-side like this, but I gotta say, Gen 7 at Dover's, we've got one car still on the bottom side of the racetrack. I'm not sure who that is, but we keep racing. I think that was Parker Bland. Here we go, on Stevens now. Steppian to Muscarella, something's got to give. Stevens goes low, and Muscarella is going to use the 2 cars to pick. Gets back in front of the 81. Now our leaders, less than a second apart. Miranda finally got through that traffic. Wilson also gets through. Oh, boy. Here we go, 3rd and 4th again.
I think that lap traffic's going to give Steppian a much-needed breather, much-needed reset. Caution is out on the
Oh,
speedway.
Brandon Banks from the 5th place.
He was inside the top 5, the pole sitter.
Almost had his run back together. He was battling with Joseph Mahar, and we were hot switching to it as it happened. It's a little more than a hump in the road.
Aw.
I think it works. They're working by lap traffic here. Isaac Mock on the top side, Travis Stevens bottom, and he's trying to go 3 to get past him. Mock comes off the wall, and Mahar gets clobbered as well. Wow.
Mock was trying to stay up there. He was up by the wall.
There was an effort for sure, but
they just, I think, more or less met right over the hill that is turn 2.
Watch this from Mock's perspective. Comes down the racetrack just a little bit.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess right there when they made contact, he came down. He was up there for a long time. I think they more or less met.
Watch this now from Banks' perspective. Stevens much slower on the bottom. Mock trying to hold at least some kind of pace. Now Mock was already 17 laps down.
Sure, yeah.
Mock came off the wall. We'll see this one more time. If we go back to the blimp, I think we'll really be able to see what I'm talking about here. None of the camera angles really work for it in the place that it happens. But watch this. So Mock is checking up on the top side. Banks goes 3. And you'll be able to see the gap between the 7 and the outside wall just grow a little bit. And we'll talk about pit stops in a second right after this because there's many. And Mock just comes off the wall. You can see that the nose pokes further below that blue line on the wall. And, man, from Mahar, just nowhere to go.
Yeah, Mahar really innocent in this incident, just clobbered.
Might be okay to hang on to a top 10 with the state of the rest of the field, but it's going to hurt him at the very least. Now, pit stops.
Mahar didn't take damage. He's still out here.
Well, Mahar, God damn. Well, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Not extra.
So Sanchez is going to take the race lead now. He stays out. 54 lap old tires. No front bumper. All kinds of damage. Kinsey is behind him. Similarly, has a good bit of damage. But in this case, only 33 lap old tires. Muscarella is the first car off of pit lane. He held the race lead. Or somehow got the race lead back. I'm very impressed. Over Mario Miranda, Steven Sempion, Joseph Mahar, Chris Shoemaker, Ray Rogers, Daniel Michel, and Austin Reedy, your top 10. This race has been insane. And to add to it, it's dark. We're getting dark.
It's getting dark. I'm a little confused on Muscarella getting that spot. His box time is only 3 seconds shorter. There's no need to fill up the car and fuel unless you want to do it for balance sake. 2 tires, sure, but maybe was there some extra damage taken? Because 11 seconds feels a little long for 2 tires.
I can do some finding out here.
Maybe
this was before his stop. This might have been after. I think this was actually after. So we got to go back even further and find this.
My only
he
thing
never went up for lefts. Watch this here in a second.
Wow.
Here comes Muscarella. He's only going to go up for rights and then release. So it's a 2-tire stop then for the 48. Goes up for rights. Comes back down. He's going to hold for a second, getting some fuel. And pulls away. 2-tire stop.
I guess maybe he's a firm believer of always keep it full of fuel.
It does. I mean, yeah, it completes the balance of the race car.
Right. And if you feel one way about the setup, I guess the full fuel will maintain that feeling, or help out with the 2-tire call anyway.
So, 15 laps to go. Joe Sanchez, no front bumper. Cody Kinsey, brand new to the series, good bit of damage both sides of the car. Then everybody else has tires. It's 55 laps for the 55, 34 for the 93. Green flag is out. The 93 doesn't go anywhere. Muscarella gets the jump over the 99. Green flag is back out. This is going to be insane. Muscarella, a move to the inside to try and take the race lead
the
away.
Apron. He absolutely ate the apron on the entry as the 93. Well, he's going backwards. That's why he's going sideways.
no! Reedy follows, then
Three
Kelly.
cars.
The race will stay green. There's more crashing. Progar involved. This needs a yellow.
Absolutely. Caution's out, and Sanchez still holds the lead.
Oh, boy. I just... You know, and Parker Bland loops to try to get back going. I've never seen a race take so many turns. And I don't mean physical turns on the racetrack. I just mean...
still cars wrecking this leaders coming through.
I just mean turns. Like, I have no clue what's happening at this point. Let's just watch this from the view. Wow.
There's about 3 or 4 different incidents happening there.
And cars just trying to check up, getting into each other. I think Swavely, oh my gosh. No, that was Kendall that gets into Uncle there after the fact. And Bland gets a big piece. Go a little further back. Let's try and find this for Stempian.
I'm really feeling race controls holding out as long as they can to throw these yellows.
Well, we're down about 10 to go. At this point, you try and finish the race.
Oh my. Parker Bland was removed.
Oh boy. Let's see this for car 01. Gets hit by Kendall. Is it this trying to get back going? I mean, Sanchez did that and is now leading the race. He did that under yellow, trying to just do extra stuff. Is there something else that happened? This might be it.
It's an intriguing. He's still traveling in the correct direction.
Yeah, but race control doesn't like that when there's other cars trying to pass, and it's already a racetrack as it is. And if there was more contact, was it from this? Yeah, race control's not going to like that.
Yeah.
Now you're holding up traffic. Yeah.
That impeded the caution period for sure.
To answer a question I see out in the chat, a cut tire, it doesn't really happen on iRacing. The only way you're going to blow a tire on iRacing is if you overheat it all the way to the point that it wears all the way down through the rubber, and there is literally, like 40 to 50 or 40 to 0% of the tire remaining. It's the only way you're going to blow a tire on iRacing. Reedy had a big hit to the wall. There was more happening back here. Kunkel gets a big piece here from Kendall, who comes back up. It's so hard to figure out all that was going on. But we'll go ahead and go back live under yellow here.
Just chaos.
Chaos, yes. So yeah, cut tires. Well, really, it's not even a cut tire. It's a blown tire. No, and Steve, perfectly reasonable question to ask when you see a car step out like that. And a lot of guys, a lot of people who watch these races, Emerson, they're not going to know. We know the ins and outs of the sim. We've been on here for years. Personally, I've been a member since 2016, so we've been around for a little while. We know the ins and outs, the little things, nuances like that, but we get a lot of friends and family that watch. Perfectly reasonable question to ask, and anybody else who has a question like that about little things about the sim, by all means, never feel afraid to ask a question. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Maybe a stupid answer, but never a stupid question. So we'll take 10 laps to go here. Sanchez, Muscarella, Miranda, Shoemaker, and Michel, your top 5. Oh boy. This will be fun.
The tire thing kind of confused me as I just got into. I mean, I've been on a couple years at this point. Actually, I just renewed my year-long membership this past week, so my second year. I'm into my third year now. But I never knew you couldn't blow a tire on iRacing until I wore one down to 0% and it went straight.
Pace car lights have extinguished. That signals to the drivers there's one caution lap remaining that we're restarting this next time by. Oh boy. This race is starting to get the best of me, Emerson. Blown away at just what's gone. This has been such an up and down race. So much has happened. You see 15 cautions for 57 laps, at least of recorded records. That breaks the record for cautions in this race for the MPI Cup Series. Most recently, 12 cautions in 182 laps in Season 4. We're at 15 now for 57. We are at 6 lead changes. Hopefully that goes up. I'd like to see the lead mix around here. I'm surprised there's only been 6 so far, but as we get ready for the green flag, potentially for the final time this evening, it's Sanchez, then Muscarella, then Miranda, then Shoemaker, then Michel, then Mahar. Nobody's out of this one. Green flag is out. 9 laps to go. Muscarella lost the second spot. Here comes Miranda down to the inside of Sanchez, quickly through to first.
And that was crucial. Muscarella had to hold off Miranda, I think, because it's going to be really hard to first get clear of Sanchez, contact behind, car the inside wall, and they're wrecking behind, massive wreck in one.
They're still crashing. Wilson in it. I see Holdcroft and more. Ray Rogers parked on the racetrack. Sean Kalis, a lot of damage. We might be going to overtime here in a second. This yellow shouldn't take us to overtime, but I can only imagine what's going to happen when we restart this race.
Oh man,
it looks like this happens right here. We're watching Kalis and Rogers. Yeah, Kalis gets loose, hooks Rogers. Oh my goodness.
Oh no. Oh.
And at this point, you're inside of 10 to go off a restart. It happens that quickly. You're not going to have time to check up.
And every one of these cautions, the drivers who are still left, that intensity comes up. As quickly as these yellows happen, you want to gain as many spots as you can. Yeah. Letting off the accelerator gets very, very
costly.
Yeah.
Because if you make it through, you get a lot of spots. If you don't, well, you're in there with the rest of them, and you can see problems for Wilson and more. Feltz locking up, still get some contact there. Wow. Easley that was part of that as well.
Easley, man, his car was clean for so long. Or I might be thinking of Kinsey.
Easley had a good car. He was in the top 10, keeping things together. Was here or there on the long runs, and he's right behind these two as Rogers on the top side. Kalis gets loose, comes up, and just mollywops them all. Wilson, Holdcroft, Fulham. Kinsey sneaks on through that. Wow, Kinsey sneaks right through.
Lucky.
Do you want a TV time? This is how you get TV time.
Oh, man.
Watch this from the Wawa 93. And I'd like to imagine that it's that nice little PitStop TV logo on the bottom of the door that helps him through this. Watch this. It's a piece, sure. But when it comes down to 5 or less laps to go for this next restart, you'll live with that.
Yeah, he's not bidding for that.
No,
absolutely not. I'm just looking around. I'd say Miranda would have the cleanest car, but even then, he's taken damage from the couple incidents he was in. I mean, there's not a clean one left.
So, 5 laps to go. We'll restart with 3 or less, because we'll have 4 the next time by, then 3. We might get the 1 to go the next time through when we get 4 laps to go as a whole for the race. I have no clue what's going to happen. I'm not usually speechless. I'm not usually clueless, but here I am. It's been a little while, though, since we've spoken with any drivers. What do you say we grab one? Who is still out there? You know what? Casey Knighton is new to the series. He's in there with Burt Rubber Motorsports and them. Emerson, here's driver of the 84. 8th place.
8th place driver, Casey Knighton. Casey, the chaos has been absolutely rampant through this field. What's it been like from your view?
It's been pretty crazy. It's just been mainly dodging bullets. You just got to be wary of what's going on. Too many people are just losing it right off 4, so it's crazy. Creating a lot of havoc, as you can see. I think last couple ones you've seen multiple guys do the same thing in sync down to the inside. But it's been crazy. We started almost dead last, 37th, I believe it was, and We've hung around, kept the car pretty clean. We unfortunately got ran into from behind there, but we'll see what we can do here from 8th. It's been a good race for us so far. So
restarting the 8th on a late race restart here. We're gonna go green with 3 laps to go. My math serves me right. What's the game plan?
Well, welcome back at least to PitStop TV. Unfortunately, blue screens do happen in this world, and we'll handle that. But what we do have is news that... Hang on. I have my phone still going from YouTube. Anyways, what we do have is some winners. Well, a winner and a couple of top 3 drivers. Emerson stuck through the session, got these guys ready for some post-race interviews. And Emerson, I'm actually turn things over to you since you saw the finish. Over to Mario Miranda, our race winner this evening. Car 99, he's pretty darn good.
Its race, at least the first half, had to really battle through some adversity in that final stage. But Mario that final restart, you kind of got lined up perfectly where Sanchez was the controlled restart you got by Muscarella, and the rest was history. Talk about that final restart from your perspective. Did you kind of know once you were lined up third that it was yours, or were you still kind of up in arms and still trying to figure out how you were going to get to that point?
Yeah, when I saw myself in third, I was thinking to myself, this is my race to lose. You know, I've Joe's on older tires, and Muscarella just took right sides only and has a damaged car. So I was thinking to myself, all the other competitors that I were battling with all race are, you know, not with me right now. So yeah, I was coming to that final restart. I was like, this is mine, and I'll be really disappointed if I don't come home with the checkered flag.
Well, another win for you on the season. This is going to be great momentum as you head to Darlington and some mile and a halves coming up. Being that Darlington is as tough as it is, does a physical race like Dover kind of set yourself up a little bit better for Darlington, or two completely different tracks you can't really compare?
I think you can't compare them. Just because how on edge you have to be at both tracks. They're definitely not easy tracks to race, and Darlington, I love Darlington. It's always a fun track. In recent races, I haven't been able to get as lucky as I've had so far with like tracks like Dover, but you know, I'm really looking forward to winning at Darlington. It's one of the crown jewel races I haven't been able to win yet and come home. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to the next week, and yeah, I think you could compare the two.
Right on. Well, Mario Miranda, the stage wins, the race win, most laps led. Looks like this race was yours from the start. Once you took the lead from pole sitter Brandon Banks. Congratulations on the dominating performance tonight, and best luck to you at Darlington coming up the rest of the season as you set yourself up for what seems to be at least a title run. Yeah, thank you so much. This Burnt Rubber Media Toyota was just, it's hooked up, and after the first two stages, it seemed only right to finish it off. That was race winner, driver of the number 99, Mario Miranda. Andrew?
Mario with a pretty good run this evening at Dover. I mean, absolutely stellar run. Goes out there, dominates the show. Definitely very much deserving of this one. And now a third win on the season, going to extend that points lead, I'd imagine, by quite a large margin. We're doing this show live in a very interesting scenario as it is. Emerson, I got to ask, between Muscarella and Michel, which one finished second?
So it was Muscarella who came home second, and Michel finished in the third position.
That means Muscarella's up next, and Alex, you talked earlier, and you were not happy with your chances, didn't like the way that the race was sorting out for you, but in the end, you come out second place through all the chaos. How were the back 60 laps?
I had a ton of fun. I didn't expect the car to hold up that well. There was a bit there after I got past the lead where there was a few laps I was quicker than Mario after he got by, and I was matching him for a lot. I just didn't expect it to be able to do that.
Well, you do go P2 tonight, and that's going to help you big time in the point situation. It's not quite the win that would have helped for the playoffs, but how do you regroup then? Darlington next up, then Kansas. A couple of interesting racetracks here for the rest of May.
Both those tracks are usually pretty good for me. The next gen car definitely makes things interesting, though. I don't really know how it's going to react. But those are generally good tracks for me. So I'm hoping for some more good finishes like this.
So a bit of a wild card then, definitely a learning curve with this next gen car.
Yeah, it's just like some of the stuff it does, and just how some of the fix sets are. It's kind of goofy. It's easy. It's really the best way that I can think of describing it. So, but yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a curve. It's definitely interesting because tire fall off doesn't matter as much at some tracks. But in the end, it's still a car, so I'm gonna go wheel it.
And how about that side-by-side battle that you were locked in with Steven Stempien for so many laps, just going back and forth? One of you would nose ahead in the corner, the other on the straightaway. What was that like?
I'm gonna be real. He was on he was the driver for me on my team, so I had to give him hell. I can't let someone that left me. I can't let him easy. That battle was also a big confidence boost because I was like, I can obviously hang up here if I'm able to hang on the outside like this.
There you go, Alex Muscarello with a big one this evening. Second place tonight at Dover for the Monster Mile 200. Alex, congratulations on the top two. I was going to say top three, the top two even this evening. We'll see you next week at Darlington.
Yep, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Alex Muscarello with a big evening tonight at Dover. And it really was an evening by the end of things. We'll move on down the line, though, and pick up Daniel Michel with a big night, finishing third.
Third place finisher, Daniel Michel. Daniel, the chaos there at the end. I guess nobody was really sure where they were going to end up, but somehow, someway, you found yourself onto the podium. Would you take that, or was this kind of a more of an expected result coming in?
Well, I was hoping for this result. I knew I was fast in the practices. I knew I was fast in the race. I set the best lap time overall, but I was really struggling on the longer runs, it seemed like, so I had to spend my tires when I could and get myself back forward, claw my way back up to the top, and once everything started going down, I somehow made it. I was very happy.
When you get a slew of cautions like that in that final part of the race, how do you stay focused and I guess poised to keep yourself, not to keep yourself from getting over aggressive or overzealous trying to make up spots?
Well, my main thing is reminding myself that I make mistakes. I can't put myself in a risky position, ruin someone else's race. I wouldn't want them to ruin mine. And earlier in the race, I got into Curtis Kelly. I wanted to apologize to him. I did during the race. I messed him up, and he went to the back, and I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I felt terrible about it, and that helped me focus not to do it again.
So you look at the tracks coming up. You got Darlington, a couple mile and a halves. I kind of asked Mario this question, but how do you feel maybe comparing Dover to Darlington a little bit, being that they're both very physical tracks, very difficult tracks for these cars? Can you compare them, or are they kind of two completely different animals?
Well, judging by the way that 2 and 4 are here at Dover, and after that long race, I have a feeling we're going to see something a little bit similar, but maybe the inverse, with 1 and 3 being a little bit more sketchy, with 2 and 4 being the tighter corners. It's not the same type of track, but it definitely will be the same type of struggle.
Well, there you have it. Third place finisher Daniel Michel. Congratulations on the podium on this race of attrition that it was. Best luck to you coming up at Darlington, and the race is coming up as you try to set yourself up here for a little bit of a run.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
A good night there for Daniel Michel, certainly in car 25. It was quick. I mentioned it earlier. Was quietly loud, quietly in the top 5, and just putting himself in a good position for the end of the race. And I think it pays off by the end there. We do have at least results that we can dictate to you. We unfortunately don't have the graphic. Of course, dropped out of the race, can't get back in. But what we can do is list off the results this evening from the Monster Mile 200. Your top 10 are going to look like this. Mario Miranda with the win by 0.3 of a second over Alex Muscarella. Then Daniel Michel in that third spot. We talked to each of them. Chris Shoemaker gets through all of that somehow and goes 4th place tonight in car number 4. That's a big night for him with the point situation that he's got. Joe Sanchez goes 5th tonight with the top 5. Just ahead, and I do mean just ahead of Joseph Mahar, Brandon Banks, Kip Beasley, Curtis Kelly, and it looks like Cody Kinsey wraps up the top 10. So a good night there for each of those guys. Is able to slip through, and I think really Emerson 6th through 10th has to be happy with their efforts and the way that the race goes. Really even 5th through 10th has to be really happy with the way that all ordered out. You got Joseph Mahar, Brandon Banks, Kip Beasley, Curtis Kelly, Cody Kinsey down through that 10th spot. They've all got to be happy at the end of the day, no matter what happened beforehand.
Absolutely. The race of attrition, the war of attrition that it was. Anything really finishing on the lead lap has to be a win for some of these drivers. And there was some crashing there on the white flag that kind of set the rest of the lead lap up a little weird. Casey Knighton ended up finishing 11th. Zach Wilson 12th. Charles Feltz comes home in 13th. Dakota Curtis finishes in 14th. Chris Progar was the last of those drivers that kind of weren't wrecked on that final lap there in 15th. Then was Garrett Brown, Brad Fulham, Daniel Holdcroft, and Sean Kalis. They all caught some trouble there on that final lap. Bill Schoonover finishes in 20th, 5 laps down.
7 laps down, you'll find previous race winner Ray Rogers. Austin Reedy goes 22nd on the same lap, by the way, as James Kunkel and Austin Shoemaker. Steven Stempion, unfortunately, 9 laps down at the end, 25th spot. Then it's Lawson Peel, 26th. Dustin Reeves, Parker Bland, Travis Stevens, and Isaac Mock make up the rest of your top 30 all the way down through 17 laps down for Isaac.
Ryan Kendall finishes 31st, 25 laps down. Richard Swavely, 32nd, 27 down. Brian Curry, 33rd, 31 down. Justin Erb, 34th, 44 laps down. Judd Danielson finishes 35th, 49 laps down. Russ Harlow, 36th, 82 down. Wyatt Brackett finishes 37th, 92 laps down. Logan Sturgeon finishes 28th, 112 laps down. And Warren Kyle Keefe makes an early exit tonight, 197 laps down.
So 39 cars, and believe me, they try to go for 39 crashes almost. A really wild night at Dover, and it's weird to say a wild night, Emerson. You know, we get into some of that, I guess, terminology here on iRacing because we can have, you know, a mid-afternoon race at 3 or 4 a.m. if we wanted to, but it really did go into the night, and I think that was a big struggle for guys. The temps never really came up. It was always a cold track for the restarts, cold tires, building those temperatures. It's always a struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more or less those temperatures made this track race a lot differently. And that's kind of true for most tracks, but Dover, we were seeing guys dive it off into these corners like they never could before. Part of that's the next-gen car, part of that's, you know, just trusting the grip of the bigger tires. But really, that track temp lets these cars kind of grip into these corners a lot better than I think a lot of these drivers were expecting, and a lot of these drivers experimented with that, and that kind of led to a lot of the incidents tonight.
This shows where we are in the season schedule. Darlington and Kansas are next up before a 1 week break, kind of. We'll still be live. We'll still have All-Star Race coverage, well, MPI coverage from the All-Star Race. More details on that to be revealed later, but we've got 2 races until then. Darlington next week, a throwback for race 11. Then Kansas Speedway, just one of those points races, Emerson. And you know, touring with series more recently with Pit Road TV has really found me that term in a really meaningful way. You have points races that make it onto every schedule. Races that are there to just add to the schedule. And I don't mean add to the schedule in a bad way. They're there because you have to have a bit more meat with your potatoes, right? You got to have a little more length to the schedule, and in this case, race 12 is that, Kansas. It's not necessarily spectacular. It's a race track that can give us a good race. It can give us a bit more of a strategy race, more spread out. It really just depends on how the stars fall for that one. But it feels like just one of those points races. You just got to get through it. You got to try and go earn as many points as you can. I would lump it into the same category, actually, as races like Las Vegas, maybe even Phoenix, even Charlotte, potentially, if it wasn't, you know, of course, well, the 600 in real life should be a 300 for us. I would put it in the same category as places like New Hampshire, Pocono, even Michigan. It's just one of those points races for these guys.
Absolutely. Kansas, you know, it is one of those points races. I think it's a nice little maybe break from the chaos that is kind of the schedule we've gotten to this point. These drivers can kind of get back to their roots of these stock cars, you know, run these mile and a halves, run a race that they can kind of control a little bit more, as opposed to the last 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks really. They weren't able to control their own destiny, and I can't say the same next week that they'll be able to start control on that.
Yeah, you get to Darlington next week. You know, it's a driver's racetrack, but I think we're going to see an interesting race, a race that we've never seen before at Darlington, certainly. A lot of unknowns there. The All-Star race is the All-Star race. No points earned there. Charlotte, we just don't really know. It's a very narrow track for a mile and a half. And I think that's going to play into a pretty wild race for race number 13. Gateway is going to be very interesting. I'm so glad we have coverage there. I wish we had it for Nashville, but I'll take Sonoma at the very least at race 15. Another road course on the list, and then we come back for Road America, another road course on the list, and Atlanta. Maybe by then, Emerson, we have the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. Maybe we have the new high banking and the narrower racing service. A bit more like the Charlotte width, but even a little more banking. That's going to be wild if we do get it.
Yeah, certainly. Atlanta, that's a fun track. We saw in real life, it would be a brand new toy for us to play with and get it by that part of the schedule. And then these are kind of like the typical summer tracks you kind of associate with NASCAR. New Hampshire, Pocono, Indy, and Michigan. Those 4 kind of always are staples of NASCAR summer months. They're always hot. They're always difficult tracks. All 4 of them difficult in their own right to just nail. And I'm really excited for that portion of the schedule to come off of a road course and a potential super speedway into a short track, another road course, and a super speedway.
That's going to be a very, very fun run to the end here. Enough of the schedule, though. Let's talk about upcoming broadcasts here at PitStop TV. Now that we got through the back end of this one, just barely, just skirted by it, but it's upcoming broadcasts that will be hopefully a bit more normal. Watkins Glen, Tuesday afternoon / evening, depending on where you are in the world, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time. BSR at Watkins Glen International on the Cup layout, the shorter layout there, so draft battles galore certainly on Tuesday and Thursday. And sandwiched in the middle there, Emerson, tell us about Rockingham.
Well, Rockingham should be the 12th race. Am I miscounting? Yeah, 12th race of the Outlaws Sim Series schedule.
I think you are miscounting, isn't it? 11?
You know, it is 11.
It's right in line with MPI, and this was race 10 for MPI. I think it's race 10, but anyways.
Right. It's still an early part of the schedule. We're not quite halfway through the regular season, but the Rock, it's got that legacy track feel because it's no longer on the NASCAR circuit, but these drivers sure love it. It's a track almost similar to Dover in a way. It's very difficult. The corners get really, especially out of turn 2, really tight up on you. It's going to be a fun track there. Max Surratt, the current points leader, has a lot of good vibes heading into that race. Will he be able to extend that point lead, or will Jonathan Jennings be able to close on up and see what he can do to make that really a points battle as we head into the middle portion of this schedule?
A big thank you to everybody sticking with us this evening through many technical difficulties to get started. Then we got the race going, and well, unfortunately, by the end of it, blue screen, 3 laps to go. It blows my mind the issues we had tonight. It blows my mind the race we had tonight. Fantastic. I honestly, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it before, just to get ready for Darlington next week. I'll have to go back and watch at least the 197 laps that made it on. And but believe me, it's not taken lightly when we make it to lap 198, 197, whatever, and we have a blue screen like that. So that will be investigated, and you know we'll make sure we're buttoned up at least as best as we can be for Darlington Raceway in less than a week now. It's Monday morning technically, but a big thank you seriously to everybody who stuck with us and understood. Technical difficulties do happen sometimes. It happens in real world live TV. They have a bit more money and a bit more equipment to cover it up, but it happens, trust me. And it really is so much appreciated for all of you that did stick with us and understand it. And check out our social media. We'll have some updates later on, and we'll have a result graphic soon, hopefully tomorrow afternoon for you guys that want to see the full results. We'll have that out for you. It's definitely been a weird night. I'm going to try and make sure you guys at least know where all of your favorite drivers finished this evening, and definitely want to keep you updated in that regard. So plenty of places to follow along on PitStop TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, to have our social media updates. We also broadcast to YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, just a big thank you to everybody sticking with us. That will do it, though, for us at PitStop TV with a very interesting back into the broadcast and almost extended post-race show. A big thank you to Emerson Arden jumping on and joining me this evening, and a big thank you to everybody else here at PitStop TV, guys like Devin Zimmerman, JP Costa, Ed Shearer, and so many more. A big thank you. My name is Andrew Cardinal IV, and we will see you soon, hopefully Tuesday afternoon, for BSR MX-5s at Watkins Glen. We'll see you.